bless you.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Happer Schaefer.
Says I take no joy in life. I can see that.
Coming at you live from Coppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Why are you yelling at me?
Whatever, make me a bicycle clown.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Connor Happer.
You might want to look away for this.
Mike Schaefer.
My boy's wicked smart.
This is Happer Schaefer.
How many tackles can one man break? Holy moly! Man, woman, and child did that. Put him in the aisle. He's gone. Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
To the middle. Juggle. Diving touchdown, Nebraska. Davidson on the deflection. Very close. 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
Kellogg's throw. It's going to be tipped and caught. It's caught. It's caught. It's a touchdown, Western Town. They give it to Janovich, and he powers for a first down and more. There goes Andy Janovich. He just obliterates the guy in a peelback block. I mean, he knocked him from here to Sunday.
Good morning and welcome in. Happy Friday. It's Happer Schaefer here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, as we round out our what, Mike? We were just talking about it. 10th week?
Yeah, this is the 45th show.
45th show.
Yeah.
And for you, all 45. Perfect attendance.
Yeah, I really worked hard.
45
Put in
or
a lot
45.
of effort. That 45 sounds off, though, because we had one day where we only had 4 episodes.
Yeah, we had a Labor Day, so maybe it's 44.
Yeah, I probably did the math wrong.
44.
So there's that. There is that.
Everyone should congratulate us on the text.
Yeah,
side.
I what did I text you the other day that Cal Ripken better watch out because I'm on his trail right now.
Yeah, only a couple thousand left.
Yeah, I could get there.
I think you're in good shape.
I believe in me.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in. It'll be a pretty standard Friday show with the exception of a switching of a guest. So no Max today because we had him on Wednesday to talk about the Nebraska story that they did. And instead, we will be having Brian Christopherson of 24/7 Sports Husker 24/7 at 9:30. And then after that, we're off and running. The P's, the keys, the P's, the sexy picks, the fastest hour in sports radio. Can't wait. But here we are starting things off on a Friday as we talk about Nebraska, Minnesota. And we hear from you guys, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Hammond text line. They are both open for you. It was a later night last night. It got more interesting on the remote than I thought it was going to get last night with the Eagles making a late push and then that baseball game getting awfully interesting.
My sympathies to a lot of people that had Tampa
Bucks
minus
bettors.
6.5.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically had a 28-7 lead. The Tampa just sort of, they didn't really let evaporate, but kind of let evaporate. They
didn't really care.
The Bucks went
put
for it on
more
like
on.
4th and 3 from the 50, and Brady airmails this pass, and then Jalen Hurts, as he does every week, just sort of runs around and runs into the end zone at some point in time. And the Eagles score. They get the 2-point conversion, and it's a 6-point game. And then the Bucs drive all the way down the field, get on the other side of the 2-minute warning. The Eagles have no timeouts, and they start to kneel down at like the 7-yard line.
It happens more often than you think, but it always, like in these football games where the team who's up, they have the ball and they're deep in the opponent territory, and they're like, all you need is 4 more yards and you could score this touchdown and you would cover for me. That'd be really great. And then it just so happened last night that I went to Harrah's in Council Bluffs, and I sat there and I was like, I'm gonna bet all the Tom Brady props. So I did over on his yards, I did over on his touchdowns.
Nope.
And sitting there at the 6 or 7 yard line with no time left and a chance to A, cover, which I had the Bucks, B, go over on yards, C, go over on touchdowns, they decided to just sit on the football. It always seems to happen when you have action on them, but that's how it goes.
Yeah,
that's how
no, you got a version of playoff Lenny last night. He had a couple touchdowns on the ground.
I was happy with Lenny. I'm a fantasy.
You have Lenny.
Fantasy owner of Lenny. Yes.
He is. He's really maddening because it really feels like when it's January, he's a different player.
Yeah.
And in October, he's sort of a ho-hum running back. In January, he's like the guy that you're most scared of, and it makes no sense.
Yep.
So that would be frustrating. That game, I thought you got a little pushback on this, but I thought you had a pretty good tweet
about the Eagles.
Yeah, I'd never thought about that before, but I couldn't find one that I would argue against.
I watched it during. Every time I watch the Eagles, it pops up in my brain, and I sat there and watched it last night, and I couldn't understand. Like, I can't come to an answer. Why are the Eagles? Well, basically, the question is, why are the Eagles the way that they are?
Sure,
but why did they decide to move away from their beautiful, vibrant Kelly green uniforms that they had in the 80s and move to this dumpy, ugly, like sea green, blue, gray thing, whatever they have going on? Like, they have the potential to have sweet uniforms, and they're just like, no. I think it's the worst color scheme in the NFL, and as I noted last night, there is a team called the Browns. Like, think about what you're limited to when your team is called the Browns. And the Browns do a good job with it. The Eagles have decided, we're going to be ugly.
So this is the Eagles, like, throughout the years, and you can see they sort of, like, had that I don't know, is it Kelly green? Is that, like, the actual term for it?
I would say that it's Kelly green, or it's close.
And that was what I kind of remember, like, when I first was getting into the NFL. That's sort of what they look like in the 80s and 90s, and then, like, late it flipped, and then it just sort of progressively got worse. Like, they went to a darker green. It looks like 99. In the mid 2000s, they had, like, black. They wore black with, like, green accent.
They still have an alternate black, I think. Yeah.
And then now they're just with a darker green altogether. And so they
haven't changed their jerseys since, like, I've been cognizant of the NFL.
Yeah. So you pointed that out, and I was like, well, who would be worse? And I, like, go through every team, and other than, like, you know, my just general disdain for the Packers. So I have to throw that one out.
No, that's a good
fine.
color
It
scheme.
works.
I'm sorry.
It works for what it is. I just hate them. So we'll leave that off to the side.
The other most boring one is the Raiders, but it's but black and silver is kind of iconic and cool.
Well, and probably because of their long history, like, it looks really good. I always feel like they have one of the sharper looking uniforms.
I agree.
When they don't do the weird sort of, when they have their road whites with weird accents and
their helmets are the thing that make it the kind of the teams that have the silver kind of.
But their home just
helmets,
straight black uniform, great.
They are good, yeah. Like, they do what they can given their colors are black and silver, basically.
Yeah, I was trying to think of who else, because you had that tweet, and it's like, who else am I just like? Yeah, I would say for this.
I would say I thought about this. I would say that Houston is pretty boring.
Yeah. Red, white, and blue.
But at least they haven't rebranded since they've become the Texans, so maybe they're probably due for that soon. But the Eagles are this historically, you know, relevant franchise, and they just decided to make it look like their jerseys were designed in 1998, and then they never thought about it again, which is basically what happened. Because, like I said, they've been the exact color they are for as long as I can remember now.
Yeah, it just sounds so insane to say this out loud, but it's like, I've probably been watching the league so long where I'm just conditioned to kind of just like how everything works.
Well, you're the type of guy who probably doesn't notice these things.
Well, yes, there's that. So you start there, but then you think about it, and it's like, do I like how the Bengals look? Yes, I like how the Bengals look. Do I like how the Titans look? Yes, I like it. So the Jaguars, I've never really liked that.
They've simplified, which is a good thing. They used to be really out there and a lot of different things going on in their jerseys. They've got it down to like 3 or 4 colors, and they've simplified a little bit. Which is
both
nice.
the Jaguars and the Panthers feel like they were expansion teams that started in the league in the 90s because everything about them feels very 1990s.
I agree.
And so that's probably the closest one for me. But otherwise, you're right. Between the uniform, and then I am so tired of Philadelphia playing in like primetime games or where I have them on my television because they're not fun to watch.
They've been bad and they're not fun.
They're not remotely like watching Jalen Hurts basically either scramble every play or just chuck it. Like it's like watching a 13-year-old play Madden.
Is there an NFL rule where each team has to get a Thursday or a Monday?
Every team plays on Thursday. That's the only one.
Every team plays Thursday.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Not every team gets a Monday because there's some teams like the Browns went years without getting a Monday Night Football game. And I think there's another team in there. Maybe the Lions went a long time without a Monday Night Football game.
So the bad teams.
But it sort of makes sense, right?
Like that's what I was thinking. I feel like I see them on primetime too much for how
they're a big market. It's a market that tunes in. You're getting a big rating share, but they're atrocious to watch.
Well, and the NFC East is always bad, so it's competitive. So every game means something.
And they're all huge markets. Yeah. It's like 4 of the 6 biggest markets in the entire in the entire NFL landscape, and 4 of them are in one division. So it's just enormous.
So I noticed that last night. I was like, why do we choose to do this? So change it up, Eagles. It's not very hard. The other thing we were flipping back and forth with last night was the baseball game. If you stayed up for it, and I said this on the spillover, but I'll say it again. The check swing is first of all, if you look in the rule book, it's very, very loosely defined. Like I even looked it up last night, and basically they talk about how it's almost 100% at the umpire's discretion. There's certain things that they are looking for usually, but this is just like umpire stuff rather than actually in the rule book. So there's certain, like, do you break your wrist? Do you go past the plate? Like whatever it is. But basically you're trying to judge intent. Did you offer? I mean, that's based. There are some that, can go further past and then it becomes obvious, but you're trying to judge intent and you're trying to do it in a very, very, quick manner, obviously. And then what happens is we've had it in baseball so much where they appeal down to first base. And I'm telling you, like, I used to think that like it was just a thing, like you said, Schaefer, that happened. So it just made sense to me. But then I was umping once in like a fall baseball scrimmage when I was in college. And I was sitting back first base and they checked to me. They appealed to me. And I was like, I don't know. Why would this be easier for me, the guy who's 100 feet down the first base line? Why would this be easier for me? Just because the angle, like, if the angle is the only thing that matters, then we could just laser that thing up and call it a check swing or not every time. But that's not the only thing that matters. We're trying to judge intent. So it's like a really, really difficult rule to enforce. Now, usually when you're in that situation with 2 strikes, and especially to end the game, you say the umpire say it didn't go and he gives them another, especially it was an 0-2 count as well. So, you give them a chance to live another day, but that's the way it went last night.
It didn't feel like, even live though, it just didn't even feel remotely close.
It didn't.
Like, because a lot of times watch a lot of baseball, like we see a lot of check swings.
A lot of times that'll happen though, where you don't think it's close in real time, and then they'll show the replay. It's like, yeah, it's a little closer.
Well, the thing is, like, I didn't think it was close, and they show the replay, and it's like, this didn't.
Right, and then they showed the replay this time. It's like, actually, no, it wasn't close.
And it's always tough because the replay angle of it is slowed down, and when you slow it down that much, you can talk yourself sort of into anything.
Thank you.
And
welcome to the train
to play your greatest hits on that one. But ultimately, like, he was in a position in which he had 2 strikes on him. Like, and he allowed for that call to be what ended the game. Like, so I also can't be that upset by it. I'm just more annoyed where it's like, you want a game like that. That was really good. Like, it was It was one of the better postseason baseball games that I have watched.
Good drama. Ruff has the home run. Bellinger comes through, who had sucked the entire year.
Logan Webb, I thought he was more of a journeyman than he is. No, he's 24 years old.
Yeah,
and he had like a Fausto Carmona-like year where no one could touch whatever he was throwing because it had so much movement.
Maybe he'll change his name to Roberto Hernandez.
One, I hope he doesn't. Two, I hope he has a better follow-up because that man had one tremendous 2007, and after that was a pumpkin.
Yep.
So
he was they said they kept flashing the stat up. He was 7-0 at home this year, his record, and his team was 13-0 in his starts at home.
Well, and the Giants they had a couple guys get to second, they had one guy get to third, they just couldn't come up with hits.
Yeah.
And that's that's playoff baseball. Like, you're going against power arms, you got to be able to put the ball in play a couple times. And really the Dodgers, outside of Mookie Betts, they weren't getting hits until the end of the night.
Oh, I forgot about this. This is a funny thing that happened last night. So I'm sitting there watching the game, and my wife comes up, and she's like, she saw Mookie Betts, and she was like, and it had the score, the bug on the bottom where it says his name, and she goes, Mookie? And I go, no, but I guess it looks like, because she said
it looks like Cookie with an M.
Because that's what she said. She was like, well, it's Cookie. And I go, yeah, that's true. Why isn't it Mookie?
No, because that's not how his parents and he.
But what is Mookie? Is Mookie his name? Is Mookie his real name?
Well, there's been multiple Mookies in history, so
only two that I know of.
That's multiple. And then remember, it's Bookie and not Bookie.
His name was Marcus.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I knew that his real name wasn't that. It's a nickname. But they're basing it off of something.
Why do they call him Mookie?
But it's just like Brandon Radley Hiles was Bookie. Yeah. And it wasn't Bookie.
But it looked like Bookie. Just like it looked like Cookie.
Just like it looks like Cookie, yeah. And then the whole thing makes me go back to and I'm maybe dating myself a little bit here. It makes me go back to the cereal commercials when I was a kid for Cookie Crisp, where they'd have the guy like breaking into the cookie thing and whatever, he gets caught and he yells out Cookie Crisp, but he's like yeah, it's like deep, it's long.
He should do a Cookie Crisp commercial and say Mookie Crisp.
Mookie Crisp should be a cereal.
I don't see cereal commercials much anymore. Now that I think about it. When's the last time you saw a cereal commercial?
It's probably been a while. I don't watch a lot of live TV. So
is cereal being phased out?
I don't think so. I would imagine cereal commercials are targeted towards kids, and we're not watching the live versions of anything in which that would be going on, right?
True. I don't watch much Nickelodeon anymore.
So, I mean, most of the commercials I watch are for insurance or alcohol. Yep. Like
that's true.
Essentially it, because the only thing I'm watching
erectile dysfunction pills.
The only thing I'm watching are live sports. So you only get like 3 types of commercials.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And then a whole bunch of cut-ins of people embracing debate. Like that's basically what you get.
So that was last night, where I had a lot of random thoughts pop into my head that I had to consider that I hadn't thought about before.
How would your wife have reacted if you would have said that? Did you know this man is a tremendous bowler with multiple?
I should have passed that along.
Yeah, I don't think she would have believed you.
No, I don't think
she would have been like, "You're making this up."
And then I would have showed her the whole video.
Yeah,
and that probably would have led to Pete Weber. Damn it, right.
Anything that leads to Pete Weber is roads worth taking, really.
Bowling. Yeah, it would have been we would have been watching Pete Weber probably within 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean those are the 2 best professional bowlers. I am.
Yeah. The best 2 bowlers that I've ever known.
Yep.
Pete Weber and Mookie. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll dive into Nebraska, Minnesota throughout the show today. Do want to hear from you guys, thoughts, predictions. And get your props in for later in the show, as we'll welcome your guys' on to the show. We'll do that in the 10 o'clock hour. We'll come back. More up next on Happer Schaefer.
Follow Connor and Mike on Twitter at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer. You're listening to Happer and Schaefer.
Prost beer drinkers, and get ready for the best Oktoberfest party in the city at Kincaid Brewing Company in the Haymarket this Saturday, October 16th. Stop by anytime from noon to 10 p.m. Admission is free, and there will be live music going the entire time. Cornhole begins at 1 o'clock, and Stein Stamina goes from 2 to 6 p.m. Buy a beer Stein for $20, and you'll get your first fill free. Plus, a German Oktoberfest-inspired menu made from Grata will be available for food throughout. It's Oktoberfest from noon to 10 p.m. on Saturday at Kincaid Brewing Company in the Haymarket.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your KFXL Fox, Nebraska weather, expecting mostly sunny skies for our Friday with a low right around 61. Clear skies into Friday night and cold temperatures, low right around 35. We'll see warmer conditions into Saturday, high of 67 with plenty of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Regina Bird for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. This month's specials are Sam Adams, Exile Brewing from Iowa, and other fall seasons. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
Hey, buying a used vehicle sucks, and the biggest problem is who can you trust? Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto out here at West O Street in Lincoln. Here's what customers have told us they want from us. They want transparent pricing with no games. We have all of our pricing on our website, plus a Carfax report. We don't want to buy a lemon. We include a 3-month warranty on all of our vehicles. We don't want to play games. Just make it simple. We saw that with non-commissioned salespeople. Can you trust us? Just check out our Google reviews. Again, this is Carl from Price Right Auto in West O. Check us out at PriceRightAuto.com.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Are you tired of lousy internet and faceless customer service? It's time to experience local, honest, hassle-free, and exceptional. That's the Allo Promise. We not only provide crazy fast fiber internet, crystal clear TV, and dependable phone service, but we choose to become a part of the communities that we serve and love when everyone calls or stops by our store to say hello. So don't settle for mediocre, settle for exceptional with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/local.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Take your tan to the max at Max Tan and tan for a can every day through the month of October. Bring in a can of food for the food bank and get a free tan from Max Tan. See maxtan.net for details. Tan for a can every day in October. Only at Max Tan.
Why pay for average lawn care when you can get better elsewhere? Blades Lawn Care is the place to go for excellent service for homeowners associations and commercial or residential lawn work. As we enter the fall with aerating and lawn care ahead of winter, also prepare for 2022 maintenance for your lawn. Call Rich today at 402-730-6320 to learn more or to schedule services for the fall or to look ahead to 2022. Blades Lawn Care, trusted service for over 10 years.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Nebraska really needs to make sure they don't go down as the best team to not make a bowl game.
Think about some of the guys that wouldn't, if they don't end up in a bowl game, that wouldn't go to a bowl game. I mean, Adrian, perhaps he could come back next year.
JoJo Doman.
But yeah, the guys on like the two safeties. I mean, that would be horrible.
I know.
That'd be awful.
Because this team is absolutely good enough to be in a bowl.
Yeah, they're a bowl team.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning. You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. More of Happer and Schaefer here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Well, sometimes the conversations in the break carry over to the conversations in the show. We were thinking of the people on that early break promo. They were talking about the guys who haven't been to a bowl game. JoJo Domann actually has, I think. He was part of that 2016 team that went to the Music City Bowl. And we think Ben Stilley was as well. That may be it.
I'm going to look through the roster and I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Ben Stilley for sure, because he was part of the 2016 class.
But did he redshirt that year?
2017 was it? Yeah, and so did Domann.
Domann did too.
Yeah.
So he didn't really play, but he was on the team.
Yeah, I think they both redshirted that year. And they both would have gone to the bowl game because you take everybody to the bowl game.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, assuming you're not skipping classes or Nate Gary or whatever, you get to go to the bowl game.
Doing the right thing, I guess. One more thing that happened last night in the football game that I saw afterwards, pretty good. Did you see Vita Vea try to get his jersey off?
No, I saw a video.
It was maybe the funniest thing I've ever
Vea
seen.
jersey exchange, and I didn't watch it, and it was sort of filmed in such a way that like you kind of know something weird is happening, but I didn't watch it, and so now I have to, I guess.
You should watch it. I want to get your live reaction to the Vita Vea jersey trying to take off his jersey. So after the game, they have these jersey swaps. And in football, in basketball, it's easy. You just take off your shirt. You have an undershirt on after, like it's tucked in. Boom, it's easy. Baseball, they don't really do the jersey exchanges, but it would be easy, right? It's just a shirt on top of you. Football, that thing is like, first of all, suction cupped onto your body. Like it's very, very tight. That's how the jerseys are made. Second of all, then you begin to sweat and, you get the moisture from the game, whatever it might have been. Eventually that jersey is plastered to your body. And here we have Vita Vea, who is, I don't know, 320 pounds, just a large human trying to change jerseys with an Eagles player. And he tries to get his pads up over his head.
And he can't.
Couldn't do it. Gets it about halfway over his head, bends over, like hunches over, and then uses all of his force to try and pull it off. Somebody else comes over and tries to rip it off of him, like digs their feet into the ground and like uses leverage to try and pull it off of him. And unclear if he ever got that jersey off of his body.
He did. They showed at the very end, the guy helped pull it off for him.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that just happens in the background. You're like, wow, this is amazing.
And then the next thing he has to do is get the jersey off of the
Off
shoulder
of the pads. Yeah.
And so we don't get actual video of that, but that's what he was working on at that time at the very end.
Probably another 20 minutes or so. 20 minutes later on that one. All right. Welcome back. More of Happer and Schaefer here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you. All right. One thing I wanted to mention here briefly that hasn't been talked about. It came up a little bit in our conversation with Ryan Burns yesterday, just from the Minnesota perspective and them coming into this game. Oh yeah, we got to get a lot of these in today.
Minnesota!
So they're coming off of a bye. They're 3-2, one loss in the Big Ten. And that loss was to Ohio State on that opening night. And then they kind of run into this nice, easy kind of slate of games coming up after this. I don't have it off the top of my head, but Illinois is in there, Northwestern's in there, maybe Purdue. No, they beat Purdue last week.
So it's Maryland, Northwestern, Illinois.
Maryland, right. So there's this 4-game stretch for them, and it starts off with tomorrow's game against Nebraska at home. And I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say, and I think it's been written about up there, this is their biggest game of the year.
Yeah.
This is their most important game of the year. This could be a kind of momentum shifting springboard type of game for them. We do not have that same perspective here. Nebraska's played really well over the last 3 games. It's a little bit more of a situation where you walk into it, your favorites on the road, and you say, well, we got to take care of business here. There's just a lot to it from the mental side for me this week, especially being 1 week short of the bye and them coming off of a bye and that game being early in the morning. And I don't know that it's another thing probably mentally that goes against Nebraska and that it's their biggest game of the year. And I think they'll be refreshed. A lot of times you see teams coming off of a bye that try and do some different things. They rethink things, what hasn't been working, what has been working. They've only played 5 games up to this point. Nebraska's played 7. So you have all of that stuff. I think Nebraska's a good team, a better team. You have a lot of that stuff, that type of stuff working against you tomorrow.
Yeah, and I do think that PJ Fleck will have those guys. Like one of the things with Fleck is his teams generally, they may not play that well, but
they play well.
They show up in the sense that, like, I've never really wondered, like, oh, this team is just part of it. They don't play well because they're just either not that good or the strategy isn't working for them. But it never really feels like they're asleep at a game, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Well, it's interesting because kind of what they're trying to do is lull you to sleep.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and certainly in the Nebraska games in all 3 years, like, the team has been ready to play each of those times, and they will be on Saturday. And Nebraska, you know, as people have said, it's a bring your own juice game, so they're going to have to do that, and they're going to have to come out and match the energy from Minnesota right off the start. I don't have a lot of worries about it. Like I said, this is a veteran.
The start is really important. And we mention it every week on Keys, and we'll do it again this week. But getting off to a good start, a fast start is important.
Well, and you can't get into a hole too early because all Minnesota wants to do is just sit on the ball.
Yep.
And Nebraska knows that, and they have to be able to get them off the field, but that's always easier said than done. Even an offense that isn't particularly good in Minnesota's case can burn a lot of clock on you in a short amount of time.
There's a way, and just thinking about it from the Minnesota perspective again, like I said, 3-2 right now. They've been really up and down. That Bowling Green loss obviously hurts, but you were able to survive Purdue last week somehow. If you look at that box score, it's a little odd. One of those games that if you take the score away, it looks like Purdue should have probably won. But you go into the bye week, you tweak a couple things, and like I said, Nebraska, Maryland, at Northwestern, and then Illinois are your next 4 games for Minnesota before they take a trip to Kinnick. I mean, you could realistically, and not that far-fetched, say that they could win their next 4, and they could be 7-2 going into Iowa and only 1 loss in the conference. And playing for that game in Iowa City, where the Big Ten West is on the line, that would kind of be the best. So in order to do that, their toughest challenge going into that game or leading into, and it's still a month away, their toughest challenge before that is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Nebraska kind of poses the biggest threat out of those teams, I think. Once again, I'm not saying Nebraska should still win this game, but I just want to give you their perspective a little bit because it's decidedly different from the urgency that Nebraska kind of has going into
there's definitely a feeling that if you don't win this game for either side, you're letting an opportunity get away.
For sure.
And Nebraska's already done that. Nebraska's already done that once this year.
What are the advanced stats? Like what does the S&P Plus say this week? I'll check that.
Yeah, you look that one up. So one of the things with this matchup for me is really going to be about, can Nebraska make Minnesota's defense uncomfortable? Minnesota hasn't really played a dynamic offense outside of the one matchup against Ohio State. In the games in between, they've largely just been able to go against a little bit more plotting in terms of offense. And then certainly they haven't faced a rushing threat like Adrian Martinez. And I think Ryan Burns talked about that yesterday on this show. And so I think that Adrian certainly has their full attention, as he does, but now Adrian with the option, Adrian with the ability to extend the field a little bit, and we've seen he's not afraid to pitch the ball at large lengths. But I do think that they can get outside on Minnesota.
I do too. They're definitely a lot slower than Michigan.
Right. And I think that's going to be an area where you attack. I think you're going to see Samari Toure is going to have some option carries. Levi Falk is going to have some option carries. We hope Xavier Betts is in that mix. Omar Manning had that big catch and then sort of wasn't around as much.
It feels like he has one pretty nice chunk catch a game.
Yeah.
I think
which might just be what his role is in this offense, and that's fine. But I do think that they have an advantage again in both their passing game and at the edge of the field, where I'd like to see them press that advantage a little bit, just like they did against Northwestern. you take a shot early against Minnesota's defense, it might be worth doing.
I think so too.
There's a lot of paths to this game, and the one that I am going to predict later in this show is maybe not the most likely, but if Nebraska plays as they have the last few weeks, especially, it has a better chance than people might think.
And like you said, the urgency for both teams is pretty high going into this one because it's winnable for both sides. And when you start talking about that, you start talking about 50-50 games. And then when you start talking about 50-50 games, I get really curious about, kind of where these advanced stats have them and how they kind of match up against each other. So Bill Connolly's S&P Plus has this game. I mean, it's a computer thing. So it doesn't doesn't pick a winner really. Yep. It just outputs a score. And the score that it output was 27-27.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because the week prior, it would have shown that Nebraska's advanced metrics were high. Like part of this is Nebraska's played more games, has more evidence both for and against it than Minnesota does. So Minnesota's metrics are a little bit skewed because they haven't faced as many teams and certainly haven't played the quality of opponent that Nebraska has.
That's intriguing.
And so, but it is really interesting to think about it, that it lines up at 27-27. I don't know how many points. Nebraska has a decided advantage in this game, in part because their quarterback is playing better. Yep. I think that really does matter. I know that Adrian had his moment at the end of the game on Saturday against Michigan, but right now he's a better passer. He's a better rusher. He's a more dynamic weapon. He's the one that I would trust to go out and get a key third down right now to extend a drive between those two guys. You couldn't say that in either 2019 or 2020, the last two times they played Minnesota. And so I do think that's going to matter in this matchup.
That's just looking at that. It says 51% win probability and projected win margin 0.2 points for Nebraska on Saturday. That's just one of them, but I always like to kind of keep an eye on those and see what they say, especially in a game like this where it's I don't know how many points they assign to like home field advantage or anything like that. So maybe Nebraska was 2 or 3 points better and then they gave Minnesota the 3 because they're at home. But we'll see how it plays out. Lot to come on Nebraska, Minnesota, of course, keys, peas, and then we'll make picks at the end of the show. We'll take a quick break. Come back. Rico's in next for True or False.
More of Happer and Schaefer is coming your way on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, buying a used vehicle sucks, and the biggest problem is who can you trust? Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto out here at West O Street in Lincoln. Here's what customers have told us they want from us. They want transparent pricing with no games. We have all of our pricing on our website, plus a Carfax report. We don't want to buy a lemon. We include a 3-month warranty on all of our vehicles. We don't want to play games. Just make it simple. We saw that with non-commissioned salespeople. Can you trust us? Just check out our Google reviews. Again, this is Carl from Price Right Auto in West O. Check us out at pricerightauto.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Have you been to Barn Wood and Leather, that new furniture store in Lincoln? It's a whole new look. If you like country, you'll love Barn Wood and Leather. It's country with a kick. Rustic, yet contemporary. Handcrafted in America from historic reclaimed barnwood and the finest leather. Create your own one-of-a-kind look for a room or your whole home. Come see for yourself at Barn Wood and Leather, South 14th and Dahlberg. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your KFXL Fox, Nebraska weather, expecting mostly sunny skies for our Friday with a low right around 61. Clear skies into Friday night and cold temperatures, low right around 35. We'll see warmer conditions into Saturday, high of 67 with plenty of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Regina Bird for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the sidetrack band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P. Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. This month's specials are Sam Adams, Exile Brewing from Iowa, and other fall seasons. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, I saw on television you have more than 500 new Hondas in stock or on the way. Now, I'm sure the listeners would like to hear more about that.
Well, Charlie, it's true. We have truckloads of new Hondas arriving just about every day. What's different is you won't see them on the lot very long, because most all of them are pre-sold. And that's what we're encouraging all of our customers to do, is get in here, get their order in as soon as possible.
Well, tell me, Andy, will they have to wait long?
Not really. It could be a few days or maybe even a few weeks, but not long at all. So I really invite everyone to come on out and experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Thank you, Andy. Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln.
Connor Happer.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I like ketchup.
Mike Schaefer.
What are we doing? I can't handle it. What's going on?
This is Happer and Schaefer.
Back here on Happer and Schaefer, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you, joined now by Rico. Morning, Rico.
Hello.
You just finding out about Blake Trinan?
I feel like I knew about Blake Trinan, but I guess I'm figuring out more about how disgusting he pitches.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, last night was a really good example of this. There was a lot of different types of pitchers in that game last night. You had straight heat guys like the Giants closer they brought in at the end, who actually gave up the hit to Bellinger. But Webb, who is just a sinker slider guy and is, impossible to hit, nothing straight. Trinan, who mixes velocity with insane movement. And then Kenley Jansen, who throws extremely hard and also not straight. Also he's like 9 feet tall and 400 pounds. So like he's the most intimidating person.
It's very imposing.
I may have been exaggerating, but
I don't think so.
Yeah, man. That last night was a pitching ninja
Dream scenario.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pitching ninja was just like, yes.
Did you stay up and watch?
I did not. I have not watched any playoff games after the Yankees got eliminated.
Sad.
Rico took his ball and went home.
I did.
That's okay.
I left.
What do we have today?
True or false? LiAngelo Ball will be in the NBA before the All-Star break.
Okay, so what happened? He got signed.
He was with the Hornets preseason team, summer league team, and everything, and they signed him to their G League affiliate.
I don't know. I don't want to pretend to know the Hornets' intent here, but I've never once thought that he was an NBA player, and based off of, and we're talking about LiAngelo, not LaMelo
middle brother
or Lonzo. LiAngelo had been playing overseas, right?
No, he had been playing. Well, him and LaMelo did the overseas thing when LaMelo was in high school.
Oh, that's right, and that's when they
came back
because they stole the thing from
yeah, and then they came back. He didn't get drafted. He went through like the G League. He's just been playing basketball. I think he was on a G League team last year, but he was on their summer league team. He was very impressive, scoring in a variety of different ways. But they were like, "Hey, G League."
I'm going to say false.
Put me down for false. I don't really.
I love LiAngelo.
Yeah,
Rico must be keeping up with the balls.
Yeah,
not really. Just LiAngelo. I don't care about the other two.
Weird.
So the one that's the least relevant.
He is the best scorer of the three, but that is all he does.
That's not important when you can't make the league.
That is all he does.
So he's actually the worst scorer of the three.
No, he's the best scorer. He just does nothing else.
No, Rico, he'd be the worst because his baskets don't matter.
No, they still matter.
How do they matter if he's not in the league?
Well, they matter.
To who?
To him and to me.
Okay, all right.
What's next?
Oh, my phone almost died. I don't know why. True or false? There should be a camera/robot that makes decisions on checked swings.
I don't know a better way to do it. I'm fine
on all calls or just
check swings. I don't care about anything else.
I'm generally okay with the gray area in the sport. I've talked about this a lot, but that is a very difficult call. It's almost like block charge in basketball. It really is.
Large.
I just don't know if there's a way that you could do it, because even if you put the laser or you have a camera that you could go to, it doesn't, like, even if he goes past the plate, that doesn't mean it's for sure a swing. So like, that's not exactly what they're judging. They're judging a lot of different things. And there's nothing specifically in the rule book that says if this happens, then it's a swing, except for he swung, like he offers. So I don't know that it would help all that much. It's just become such a 50-50 call that I don't know what you do. So I guess false.
I'm good with it. I'm all for automation and people losing their jobs. Next.
Fire everyone. Next.
Everyone gets fired. True or false? Matt Corral is the best quarterback in the nation. Corral?
Probably true. Probably true.
Who's the short list that would be better?
Well, I have a top 10 according to Bleacher Report.
Okay,
go ahead.
Matt Corral, Bryce Young, Grayson McCall, Coastal Carolina, CJ Stroud, Malik Willis, Desmond Ritter, Kenny Pickett out of Pitt, Tanner Mordecai, SMU, Bailey Zapp, Western Kentucky, and Peyton Thorne.
Okay, so several of these are too high.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud too high. Peyton Thorne too high. Desmond Ritter should be higher.
Stroud is going to put up some pretty wild stats in the second half.
He has gotten better.
But so much of it isn't just him, though. Right. Like, when you get to throw a 12-yard out that turns into a 72-yard reception because you have incredible weapons. Like, when I saw Corral play last year, I was like, whoa, this guy can really. And then watching him against Arkansas, he's got some stuff to his game that I didn't really like. He can kind of run, and he can kind of run with a little bit of power too. Like, he ran over a guy. He's not afraid. He obviously throws it really well. The arm talent's off the charts. Yeah, I think he probably is. Carson Strong should be on that list, by the way. The Nevada quarterback. He's pretty good. I would say Desmond Ritter should be higher, though. He's probably the closest argument I have to Corral, I think, at this point.
That's just because you haven't seen Grayson.
And then the Bama guy.
We'll have to get a Heisman update at some point, because I genuinely don't know.
I will look for that.
I kind of regret not, because we talked about it a few weeks ago, and I think I said something like, maybe throw some money on Desmond Ritter, because if they go undefeated, you know?
Like, I wonder what I'm going to check. Let's stop this and just find out what the current odds are.
Here we go.
True or false is dead.
So,
Rico's phone.
Bryce Young
is
Bryce Young and Matt Corral are tied. Yeah. Stroud's next. Kenneth Walker, Bijan Robinson, Desmond Ritter.
What is Ritter's odds?
Plus 2,000.
2,000 according to Vegas Insider.
So what are Ritter's stats?
Blake Corum plus 6,600.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, there's no way any of those guys win it, but you're basically talking about a quarterback at a school that has a chance to win the national championship, not Georgia's quarterback.
So Desmond Ritter's.
Hey, there's one that's not a running back or a quarterback. Drake London, USC wide receiver, plus 8,000.
All right. Let's put all our money on him.
Ritter's going to need more touchdowns. His numbers are really good, but they're not.
Well, the guy who really popped up last week was Bijan Robinson, even though they lost. He'd have to put up ridiculous stats to win it as a running back on like a 9-3 team. But yeah. All right. Thanks, Rico.
No problem.
That is true or false. We'll come back 9:00 hour. Big Ten Power Rankings with Tears is next.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Early break with Sip and Jake.
Nebraska really needs to make sure they don't go down as the best team to not make a bowl game.
Think about some of the guys that wouldn't, if they don't end up in a bowl game, that wouldn't go to a bowl game. I mean, Adrian, perhaps he could come back next year.
JoJo Doman.
But yeah, the guys on like the two safeties. I mean, that would be horrible.
I know.
That'd be awful.
Because this team is absolutely good enough to be in a bowl.
Yeah, they're a bowl team.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Why pay for average lawn care when you can get better elsewhere? Blades Lawn Care is the place to go for excellent service for homeowners associations and commercial or residential lawn work. As we enter the fall with aerating and lawn care ahead of winter, also prepare for 2022 maintenance for your lawn. Call Rich today at 402-730-6320 to learn more or to schedule services for the fall or to look ahead to 2022. Blades Lawn Care, trusted service for over 10 years.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Your KFXL Fox Nebraska weather, expecting mostly sunny skies for our Friday with a low right around 61. Clear skies into Friday night and cold temperatures, low right around 35. We'll see warmer conditions into Saturday, high of 67 with plenty of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Regina Bird for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the sidetrack band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Here's to days spent roaming, and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to 100 years of your Nebraska state parks. Plan your next trip today at nebraskaparks100.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good proof ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's. Here today, here to stay. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Venue at Home is your answer for locally made, freshly prepared meals delivered to your door every week. Our meals come ready to heat and eat. With sizes for 2 people or 4, Venue at Home is perfect for busy people who want a quick, easy, and delicious meal option to share with your roommates or feed the whole family. Add on from our wide selection of appetizers, sides, desserts, alcohol, and more. Receive a discount on your meals by subscribing to get Venue at Home delivered every week. Visit venueathome.net to order today. That's venueathome.net.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Happer and Schaefer.
Says I take no joy in life. I can see that.
Coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Why are you yelling at me?
Whatever, make me a bicycle clown.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Connor Happer.
You might want to look away for this.
Mike Schaefer.
My boy's awake and smart.
This is Happer and Schaefer.
How many tackles can one man break? Holy moly! Man, woman, and child did that. Put him in the aisle. He's gone. Touchdown. Touchdown. Touchdown.
To the middle. Juggle. Diving. Touchdown, Nebraska. Davison on the deflection. Very close. 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
Kellogg's throw. It's going to be tipped and caught. It's caught. It's caught in the touchdown, Western Town. They give it to Janovich, and he powers for a first down and more. There goes Andrew Janovich. He just obliterates the guy in a peelback block. I mean, he knocked him from here to Sunday.
Good morning. Welcome back in. 9 o'clock hour of Happer Schaefer here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you. We'll talk plenty more Nebraska, Minnesota, but as we do on Fridays at 9, we take you through the Big Ten this weekend with our Big Ten power rankings with tiers. I have decided that that Schaefer is way better at the bit of creating themes to go along with his tiers than I am, and I might just quit because it's always a struggle for me every week. And
you forget about it,
then I feel like I underwhelm people with the actual rankings. So this
Mine could be underwhelming. You don't know that.
Yours is good. Yours is always good. You always have a rationale for it. It's well done on your part. So that's you. I'm giving up on it, and I'll just give you my rankings. By the way, a little note on Big Ten power rankings with tiers. A lot of people do power rankings. A lot of people do tiers. But where have you ever seen power rankings with tiers? Nowhere, only here.
Yeah, this is true. I've never seen it anywhere else.
You want to fire it up this week? I'll do a little bit of a
preamble
disclaimer at first. Not much movement this week. There wasn't a whole lot of. There hasn't each of the last 2 weeks. So this week that is coming up tomorrow and last week, there have been a lot of buys mixed in there. And then not a lot of big games in the Big Ten in general. So that's kind of led to a bit of a stagnation as we head into the back half of the season here.
So there's a little change for me, not so much like, I guess, the order of the teams probably, but I do have a new tier in there. So I'm up to 5 tiers now.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
There's been a bigger split for me now in the way things have shook out in the Big Ten.
I'm curious. Okay, let's hear it.
All right. So the theme this week, and there's a lot you could go with. Obviously, Nebraska's playing at Minnesota. I try to tie some things to where they're playing. Sometimes it's just completely random. This time I went with because there's a lot of companies headquartered in Minneapolis or were founded in Minnesota, and so I decided to just go with the best brands to the worst brands at least in my mind, from the state of Minnesota. And to start with, there's a lot of options you could go with.
Minnesota brands.
But there's none better than Dairy Queen, which was founded and headquartered in Minnesota. We are going with Dairy Queen, high-level ice cream.
I'm curious.
Solid food.
I'm curious the rest of your list. Dairy Queen's better than Target?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get to it. I'm going with Dairy Queen on this.
I like Dairy Queen.
Yeah,
I can never resist a blizzard.
Well, we can have a debate on this. So I'll run through it. This should make you happy. I have Iowa at number 1.
I mean,
there's really no other way to do it.
If you wouldn't have had Iowa at number 1, you would have had to throw your whole rankings out the window.
I don't think that's true, but
That
I
is
have
true.
Iowa at number 1.
You couldn't put anybody else in the Big Ten at number 1 right now.
You can do what you want. I'll do what I want. But this week I have Iowa at number 1. I have Ohio State at number 2. I have Penn State at number 3. And I have Michigan at 4. And it's really, to be honest, 2, 3, 4. It could go in any order for me. As impressed as I was by Michigan, I still don't think that they are. I don't know that they're better than either Ohio State or Penn State. Penn State, it's tough. I didn't really want to move them behind Ohio State, but Ohio State has played better as of late. Penn State, certainly, without knowing the severity or how long Sean Clifford's going to be out, I don't know how likely they are to finish with a top 10 season if they have a real question at quarterback.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't think they would beat Ohio State right now on a neutral field. I do think they would probably beat Michigan if they had Sean Clifford, but we will see. So that's how it sets for me for the first 4 in tier number 1.
Yeah, I have the same 4. Iowa's number 1, pretty clear at this point. They jump Penn State probably for good at this point. So they are number 1. They're up 1 spot from last week. They are the only team in the first tier that actually plays this week, and they get Purdue at home in a little bit of a scary game. Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Penn State 4. So I flipped Penn State and Michigan, and I'm with you. There's not a whole lot of difference between the two right now, but I do think notably Ohio State has jumped back up here. And I mean, obviously the second half of their season is going to tell you what you need to know with games against Penn State and Michigan, but Ohio State looks to be getting things back on track.
All right. Second tier is Target. And here's the argument.
Target tier.
Here's the argument for Dairy
Target
Queen.
City, Target Field.
Yep.
Our Target City. Target
Center. There's probably a Target City somewhere in there. It's a suburb where all the Target employees live. You can only wear red there.
Have you been to the downtown Target with the card escalator?
I don't think so, no.
Wow, you're missing out.
I actually don't think that I am.
You put the little card on a little thing and it just rides up with you.
Well,
and it spits it out at the top of the stairs. It's a 2-level Target.
Sounds incredible. I've been to 2-level Targets before.
I sound like a real bumpkin when I talk about 2-level Targets
Yeah,
because I am amazed by them. We don't have them here. There's a few of them out there in big cities, mostly like downtown places, stuff like that.
Chicago has one.
Like they're not that uncommon. They're pretty common, but I'm always in awe of them when I go to them. 2-level Targets,
amazing
with the card escalator.
So the argument here is I'm not always excited to get or to go to Target. Like you go to Target to get essentials, to get supplies. It's a good shopping experience. I prefer it to the other big box store, if you will. So I do prefer that. But if I'm getting Dairy Queen, generally, I don't do it that often. When I do, I'm happy about it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably getting a Blizzard. It's solid. I prefer, it's a better experience all the way around for me.
You're not looking forward to a Target trip.
No, I mean,
what if you were buying a new video game?
I'm going there to get, cleaning supplies. What if I'm buying what?
A new video game.
I don't know that I would go to Target for that.
I mean, you wouldn't anymore. It's 2021. Everybody buys their video games online. But I used to go to Target.
Rico wants to jump in really, but here he comes.
I used to go to Target and buy CDs and video games and then stand there and play the games for a little while. And that was a great experience.
I think
I'm a little
nostalgia for Target supersedes what the reality of Target is.
I'm a little nostalgic. And also, they don't have super Targets anymore. And
they got rid of those?
Well, I mean, everything's just a super Target, so they don't feel the need to put the supers on there.
Oh, does that bother you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Unless that's just a Lincoln or Omaha thing. I don't think there's any super Targets.
All right, let's bring in a Target employee here. Or a
They
former
killed super
Target
targets. There's
Oh
no more
yeah,
super
Rico,
targets.
Target alum.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you go
Target
there and
you.
if you go there and you buy your video games, you use your red card, you get 5% off the video game. So
Incredible.
When's the last
Still
time you bought?
pimping.
When's the last time you bought a video game at an actual store, like a physical store?
I bought. It was like a couple months ago.
What?
I was just in there and it was like $30.
My console doesn't even take discs anymore.
Mine still does because I like getting the physical copies.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
'Cause, like-
probably just do the online.
Well, because
versions
like
everything
MLB The
else.
Show, if you get like the whatever edition, sometimes you get a
'cause of the
hat
big
or
old
something.
box,
You get
yeah.
a box, you get a hat, you get a statue or something.
Yeah, I don't believe in that.
You want a statue?
Yeah, I got a stat. The Last of Us 2. I got. Rachel didn't let me get the most expensive edition, so I got the second most expensive edition, and she was upset. But she got over it, and it came with a statue. I wanted the one that came with a statue and like a little backpack of the main character, but she didn't let me get that one.
What do you do with this stuff?
I put it up in my game room.
Okay.
Jeff, great point off the text line. Bad part about Target is when you have to go buy video games and then you have to bump the guy on the shoulder for the case.
Yeah.
It's like, can you open this case for me? And they're like, well, I'm actually running 18 different departments.
Because there's only one person that's ever working in the electronics.
The store is split in half.
Yeah.
There is the cash registers up front, and then there's like some like trash cans and like household items kind of up until the middle. And then the middle and then the middle to the back is all electronics and toys. And there's only one guy who works back there. And he has a walkie-talkie to communicate with the front part of the store, but that's it. He's on an island.
So yeah, you're working electronics, you're working on the floor. I always requested to be transferred back there, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll do that." Never happened, but I knew everything back there, and I could do it, and I had the keys, and I was never a manager, but I was managing the front most of the time, anyways.
He was in the front with the people.
Yeah, I was a cashier.
He's got the face. He's got the front face.
The thing about Target that always kind of cracks me up is like if you need to know where something is, anytime you find an employee and they're hard to find, they never know or never want to be asked where anything is. Like,
true.
It's a very opposite of Hy-Vee, where like they talk about like there's a friendly smile on every aisle, and it might be a little bit different since COVID, but for the most part, if you ask a Hy-Vee employee, like they generally know where stuff is and they're helpful, or they'll get you to where you need to go.
Yeah.
If you ask a Target employee, they're like, I'm stocking. Well, okay, I'll call somebody. Hey, there's a guy looking for, and then whatever the item is, and then
100%.
Whoever on the other line
It's
doesn't want
amazing.
to. Whoever doesn't want to talk to him on the other line, and you stand there and it's just awkwardly.
They just say the aisle.
There's a huge store, and there's 6 people who work in
Yeah.
it.
Well, you're supposed
And if you
to
find one of them, they don't want you to know that they're there. But unfortunately, they have to wear the red
There's a
shirt.
lot of
you're
places to
supposed
hide.
to help everybody that walks up to you, but nobody ever wants to. And the problem is people are in their specific areas, and it's always somebody comes to the clothes and they're like, "Hey, can you tell me where the oil for their car is?" And it's like, "I only work clothes. I can't help you with this."
That's
Or
all the way
somebody's
over there. We
Hey,
don't- we
can you
don't-
tell me where this T-shirt is? Be like, "Bro, I'm stocking milk. What do you want me to help you with?"
We don't talk about that.
I
side of the
only
store.
work in the section with the K cups
Yeah.
and the coffee machine.
I'm not
I can't
kidding
do
you.
anything.
I'm not kidding you. That is like a thing. Like people have their specific sections.
It's incredible.
Hmm.
Anyways, I have Michigan State in that too.
Yeah, I also have Michigan State in tier number 2 alone. They get Indiana on the road this week. Semi-tricky as well. Tier 3.
All right, tier 3. This would have been tier 1 for me because your nostalgia for Target is what I feel like when I moved to Lincoln and would spend way too much time at Best Buy in college.
Best Buy is a Minnesota thing.
Best Buy is a Minnesota thing. Their headquarters are in
Oh,
Minnesota.
I do like
It's-
Best Buy.
Yeah. I would go to Best Buy with like roommates or friends or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And we would waste so much time. And this is like, it's quintessential because it perfectly fits of the time of which I was in college. Like you'd be looking at CDs, you'd be looking at DVDs
Phones.
and Blu-rays and
Yeah.
video games and like all this physical stuff. You'd be over there looking at these way overpriced televisions, plotting how you're going to make enough money to buy one of them. And then like 2 years later, the television of which you bought would be roughly $300 instead of the $1,800 that it was on display for.
The Best Buys are going away. It's
Well,
very
they're so
sad.
different now. Like it's a very different experience. It's more of a warehouse than what it like the old Best Buy, which used to be right over by the station here.
Yeah,
It didn't
O
feel
Street,
like
yeah.
a warehouse. The new one that you go to definitely has that feel. And almost everything that they do anymore, it just feels like it's like trying to push you to buy your phone from there. Like,
yep,
the phone has like taken over everything that goes on.
And the Geek Squad, they want you to do the Geek Squad.
Huge, and oh man, the warranty.
Have you
the
ever done the Geek
warranty.
Squad?
No,
I haven't ever done the Geek Squad.
I thought about it for one thing, but ultimately I live my life under the idea that I refuse to pay on the principle that something bad might happen.
100%.
Which makes, I get insurance like everyone else, but
Right.
for the most part, if I can avoid it, like rental cars and
like every time they ask me that question, they're like, do you want the protection plan? It only costs like $14 extra. I'm like, am I going to break this? And the answer is always no. I'm never going to break anything.
Yeah. So Target comes in 3 Best Buy comes in 3. These are programs that, on given days could look better, could look worse, just kind of like Best Buy. Nebraska locks in at number 6, and then Minnesota at 7. So you have 6-7 matchup right here this week. I have Wisconsin at 8 and Purdue at 9. It really feels like the Big Ten West tier for me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I have a little bit of a switch up in there. I have Nebraska at 6 like you. I have Minnesota at 7 like you. I did not let Wisconsin jump back up yet.
Okay.
So
beating Illinois isn't enough for you. I get that.
No. So I have Maryland here and then Purdue.
Okay.
These are teams that I would describe as we just really don't know. This is the I don't really know what to do with you tier kind of. But they all feel a step better than the bottom. And I think Nebraska leads the way. I think Nebraska is the best team out of this bunch, and if they don't win this weekend, that'll obviously change. But yeah, they can kind of solidify themselves as the leader of the back half of the Big Ten, if that makes any sense, with wins in their next 2 games. I had another comment on Best Buy.
Go for it.
The last time I went to Best Buy, I didn't actually go to Best Buy. It was at the very beginning of the pandemic, and I realized that I was going to have to be working at home. So I had to buy a really long Ethernet cable. And what they had, I had a 25, but I needed like 3 more feet.
Mm-hmm.
So the next increment up was like 50, and they were out of 50s. So I bought a $64 100-foot long Ethernet cable.
Incredible.
That just gets strewn across my house. And I do radio at home for a month or whatever that was.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Best Buy. That's what they're there for.
The amazing thing with Best Buy is how much money in your life you've wasted on cords that,
oh yeah,
you can get on Amazon for
100%.
much cheaper, but you need it immediately.
Yep.
So it's like, well, yeah, fine. I'll pay the $12.99 for this $3 cord.
I can't tell you how, and speaking of Target, I can't tell you how many times I went to Target and grabbed the little adapter for your iPhone so you have to, like, they had the
nodule or whatever.
Yeah. So they don't have the headphone jack anymore, but I still had the headphones that had the headphone jack. Now I have the AirPods, which is great, but you had to adapt it.
Mm-hmm.
So the Apple people did it on purpose. They were like, here, we're just going to screw you guys and make this adapter that you have to buy for 20. I probably bought 6 of those.
Yeah. Well,
because they're so tiny, you lose them every time you use them.
And the rationale for it is they wanted to funnel you into buying Bluetooth products anyways, because they wanted to phase out wired equipment.
Mission accomplished.
Well, here's the thing. When a company that you rely on heavily decides to do something, you're screwed.
Mission accomplished.
That's just basically how it works. All right, tier number 4. Buffalo Wild Wings, founded in Minneapolis in 1982.
There's one prominently placed right outside of Huntington Bank Stadium.
Yeah, so it's no longer headquartered there, but it was founded there in 1982. Buffalo Wild Wings is an experience that sometimes is solid, and sometimes it's just the worst place that you could have gone at any point in time. And I will still go there.
There's usually,
but I won't go there unless it's like we're on a road trip and we need to go watch football somewhere and we couldn't find a more local place, or we need access to the internet, or it's open, which is the case of after Nebraska lost to Oregon in 2017. We stopped at a very random Buffalo Wild Wings on the way back between Eugene and Portland.
It exists.
Someone spilled all over Michael Bruntz, the server, or BC, one of the two. I can't remember which.
Awesome.
It didn't go well for him. It was a terrible experience. These teams are in that tier. Maryland and Rutgers, I don't know what to do with them, because both teams I thought were better than what they have been over the last couple of weeks. Maryland's been blown out back-to-back times. They played Iowa and Ohio State, so maybe that matters. But they also have just looked really bad in those games.
Yeah.
Rutgers has been blown out, and they have looked pretty bad in their games against Ohio State and Michigan State. And it's tough because they're playing better teams, and maybe I shouldn't have Purdue over them. But both teams have sort of an instance to me where it's like this season has flipped on them, and I don't know they're getting it back.
Purdue is kind of the sneaky team.
Purdue feels like they're going to hang around with teams.
Yep.
And that's a caution for Nebraska to not just, assume that that's a giant W.
They almost feel like Nebraska 2 years ago-ish, where they have a halfway decent defense, which is nice, but they could also put up a whole bunch of yards.
Well, they have an absolute star in David Bell, and so that makes it a little bit easier.
So my fourth and final tier, you have one more tier left. My fourth and final tier starts off with Rutgers, who goes down 2 spots. They get Northwestern this week, so they could declare themselves the king of the poop tier this week with a win in Evanston. Indiana stays in the back. They're up a spot. They get Michigan State this weekend. Wisconsin still at 12. I'm not moving them off yet.
Buried.
And here's what happens. They get Army this week, our Army. And if they don't win by a lot, then there's going to be some problems. Illinois and Northwestern finish it off.
All right, final tier for me, Caribou Coffee. I don't care about coffee, and I don't care about these teams, Indiana, Illinois, Northwestern. I don't have anything more to say. They're terrible, and that's where they reside.
Caribou Coffee, only inside Hy-Vees.
Yeah, I've never seen a standalone.
I don't think I have.
So
Hy-Vees and
there's
airports.
probably like thousands of them up in Minnesota, but
Hy-Vees and airports.
Yeah.
It's pretty much where I've seen
those are my
Caribou
tiers.
Coffee. Good work, Schaefer. That is Big Ten Power Rankings with tiers. You can find this nowhere else. Where else would you be able to weave in very naturally Best Buy and Target conversations with some of the Big Ten teams? I don't think anywhere else. We'll take a quick break. Brian Christopherson of Husker 24/7. He'll join us next to talk this Minnesota game on Happer Schaefer.
Follow Connor and Mike on Twitter at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer. You're listening to Happer and Schaefer.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high-quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good-proof, ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In Class A softball, Lincoln Southwest and Lincoln East are still competing for the championship. Number 2, Lincoln Southwest will advance to the championship after beating number 1 Gretna handedly, 8-0. Senior Bailey Selvage was efficient on the mound for Southwest. She threw 79 pitches in the match, with 50 of them being strikes. Number 3, Lincoln East took down number 5 Papillion La Vista 5-4. East will play Gretna on Friday morning to advance for the championship game. In cross country, all 31 Class A teams met at Pioneers Park here in Lincoln on Thursday. Gabe Hendricks of Elkhorn South would finish first with a time of 15 minutes 39 seconds. The fastest runner for the girls was Ellie Dahl from Fremont with a time of 18 minutes and 30 seconds. Mia Murray from Lincoln East and Brianna Wren from Southwest would win their groups. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your KFXL Fox Nebraska weather, expecting mostly sunny skies for our Friday with a low right around 61. Clear skies into Friday night and cold temperatures, low right around 35. We'll see warmer conditions into Saturday, high of 67 with plenty of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Regina Bird for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
Not all championships come with a trophy. Some help save lives. If you'd like to be on the team that kicks cancer's butt, come to Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln this fall and support their Cheers to Hope campaign. Every Cheers to Hope koozie or ACS chicken ringer you buy supports the American Cancer Society and their fight against cancer. Sounds like a win to me. You get great beer, the best chicken sandwich in the league, the chicken ringer, and you're helping fight cancer. Cheers to Hope at Buffalo Wings and Rings, the better Buffalo.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
Here's to days spent roaming and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to 100 years of your Nebraska state parks. Plan your next trip today at nebraskaparks100.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back in the future. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on Happer and Schaefer, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you. Coming up, of course, the fastest hour, where we will prognosticate some more. Let's do some more prognosticating. General talking about the game with Brian Christopherson of Husker 24/7, who joins us now on the Honda of Lincoln Hotline. Morning, Brian. How are you?
Not too shabby. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. We were making the point earlier, or I was making the point earlier, that I'm interested in this game from a mental kind of standpoint a little bit. I think it's Minnesota's biggest game. They have 3 easier opponents coming up after this, where you can kind of carve out a path for them to be right on track going into Iowa City in November. I guess that combined with Nebraska 1 week short of a bye, playing 8 weeks in a row, all that stuff. I guess where's the picture at for you as far as the mental side of things going into this one?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I've been most impressed with this Nebraska team is, even with their record, I would say they do really hit the reset button very well. Like, better than you would think. I mean, after some of these games where you get kicked in the jewels and it's like, how did that loss happen like that? You always wonder, okay, what's that going to look like at practice the next week? Is there a point where you get tired of, Lucy pulling the football out from under you right when you're coming to kick it? And I think from everything we've heard this week,
they're saying the right things.
It sounds like it's same old on that, in that regard. And that's a good same old. That's something that they have excelled at. So, I do think Scott Frost was probably wise to, when he talked to him a couple of weeks ago, to say, okay, we've basically got 3 mini seasons here. Don't look at it so much as the grind as you've got 2 big games against Michigan, Minnesota. Then you get rest. You do it again, rest, do it again. And I think that was a good way to slice it up. And, for a team that has played 8 straight weeks now, Nebraska's pretty healthy, you'd have to say, knock on wood. And I do think, though, you're right. Your question's a good one because I feel like Minnesota is also in a fork in the road moment in their season. And so I expect a wrinkle or two. And if Minnesota's not inspired to play this week, they aren't going to be inspired this season because they've got their season feels like it's hanging in the balance as well.
Other than Adrian Martinez, is Bryce Benhart the guy who has maybe the biggest sort of expectations are the wrong word, maybe, and targets are the wrong word. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of people watching Bryce Benhart this weekend because he's now replacing essentially Teddy Prohaska. You're back to this offensive line that had 2 tackles that have really struggled this year, according to Pro Football Focus. Where do you sort of feel like he's at, and what did you see from him in the second half against Michigan?
I mean, I'm not an offensive line expert, but I thought he played pretty well. I know there's a player or two that got away from him. With that Michigan front's really good. He also had one of the key blocks on the leading touchdown. And I think guys are really trying to pump him up. And, like you even heard Turner Corcoran this week in the press conference giving him encouragement. And, it's hard when you've kind of been the guy your whole life. And it seems like you have it all. The map is all in front of you when you get here, right? Like he's supposed to be that guy who plays 3 years or starts or goes to the NFL, whatever, but he's going to be the main man at Nebraska and there's not going to be any potholes. Well, Adrian Martinez and others can tell you it does not always work just like that. And so you've got to really be strong mentally. And some guys have that moment where they hit that rut and they realize it was warranted and they go harder. And the talk is that's how it's been with Bryce, but now it's got to show up when it counts. And I think you guys remember this. Last year against Minnesota, he had a really tough game. I mean, and that's maybe a case where you are going against your home state school and you got so much on the line and you want to prove it and it goes the other way on you. So he just needs to be solid in this game. I hope he's not going into it like looking to prove everything to the world in this 1 week. I think it has to be more the mindset of just go do my job, do it at a solid level, and hopefully the other guys around me do the same thing, and we'll be fine.
Speaking of offensively for Nebraska, do we give enough credit, I guess, or think about much their performance last week against Michigan and how good of a defense that was, how fast of a defense that was, and I guess Nebraska turned it into, a real good game there in the second half, and maybe they've been the best they've looked offensively in a while in that third quarter and into the fourth. How does that kind of translate into obviously a different situation, like we mentioned this week, but against a worse defense, I think, in Minnesota?
Yeah, I just hope Nebraska brings the exact same tenacity that they brought Saturday. And that's really the big question of everything to me is, can a Husker team that obviously can play with like top 10, top 15 type teams on a given week, now can you take that same level and just not drop it against the Minnesota team? Because if you do, I mean, that's probably been my biggest knock during the Frost era is I feel like there's been these kind of games where it's like, okay, you're expected to go get this one, grab it, show that you're the better team, get out of your own way. And that's a big if over these next 2 games. I mean, if Nebraska is 5-4 after Purdue, this whole thing can be a lot of fun really down the stretch because, you're going to have an Iowa team that's sort of playing for everything maybe, and Ohio State's going to come here, and Nebraska's going to get these big swings at teams to not only get bowl eligible, but to get that win against that high-profile program that has eluded them. But to set it up, you just got to handle your business on a week like this when not as many people are paying attention. So I hope the O-line, back to that, I hope that group just kind of carries off of what they did. I think one of the biggest things has been Nuri at left guard. I just think he has, maybe he's not been spectacular, but he's been solid. And that position, just to be frank, was an eyesore the first part of the year. And a lot was they were trying to cover up that spot through the first 5 games or whatever it was. And now they've got somebody who seems like he can handle it. So that I think that's been maybe one of the biggest differences up front.
Brian, over the last couple of weeks, do you feel like the special teams play has been noticeably improved, or has it just been a function of they're just sort of doing their job and therefore there's no real reason to have a conversation about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've been all right. I think basically the 40 some guys or whatever that do all the other stuff have been okay most of the year probably, but you're not all you're going to be judged by the fact that if your kicker goes on a drought, that's going to stand out. If your punter is kicking it the wrong direction and all these, I mean, at the main spots, that's been where the issue is. So I have had a little bit of sympathy for some of the guys like on coverage units and some of the stuff who maybe they are improved, maybe they do have some stuff that's where their act is more together than it has been in the past, but you would never know because like 2 or 3 spots are so glaringly bad. And those spots have been a little better. I don't think we've seen, Culp, I know, had a bounce back game where he hit a couple kicks, but they were short. So we haven't really seen him yet, I think, in that moment where he has to hit like a 40, 2-yard kick. That's a huge momentum kick or decides the game. So that still is up to be decided, I think. William Pristup, I think, has emerged as a guy who, if you take away the 7-yarder, which I know it sounds terrible to say that even out loud, the 7-yard punt, but that punt against Michigan State that sort of got him benched, which led to Daniel Cherney coming in and kicking the wrong way. I think other than that, he's been pretty good since Oklahoma. So hopefully he just keeps it going, and that 7-yarder was just an outlier that we don't see again.
BC defensively for Nebraska going into this game, it's obviously a much different challenge. But Minnesota wants to sit on the ball. There's not going to be too many available turnovers if Minnesota gets it their way, and they want to kind of just bleed clock and do that whole thing. And what we saw last week was Nebraska's defense get, I think, a little bit tired toward the end of that. It was a different type of football game, I think. I guess, how do you feel like the defense responds this week after maybe a rough second half last week?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt Nebraska was tired on defense. I know some guys didn't want to say that, and I get that, but it sure looked like it. Yeah. And so you're right. Minnesota's the type of team where if they get out in front, they can drain this clock in a hurry. And that's probably the biggest worry of this game is, a sleepy 11 a.m. start. If Minnesota gets the ball, goes 70 yards on its first drive for a touchdown, and then you're sort of playing that game where don't make a mistake, and you're kind of looking at the clock, and, Minnesota has another drive that takes up, 6 minutes in the first half. Suddenly it becomes a game where snaps are limited. You have to be very efficient, and you can't. And because the snaps are limited, if you make a mistake, it's only heightened. And that's the games where Nebraska really doesn't function well. So that's why you've heard Scott Frost say it this week. And I know people will be like, well, that's Captain Obvious. You want to get out in front. Of course, that's the case. But you know exactly what he's saying. He knows that his team is one where when it's been these limited snap games and efficiency has had to be maximized, that's not been their specialty. So, they got to get out in front of this game and sort of, I think, control tempo to some degree when they can. And I think the more snaps in this game, the better for Nebraska. But yeah, teams like Minnesota always worry me against the Huskers because they are so good in the Big Ten. I really see this when some of these squads get ahead by 7 points or so, they know how to milk a game the rest of the way. And Minnesota is one of those.
Run away and hide. That's just sit on that thing. All right, BC, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the trip this weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, I'll see Schaefer here shortly.
There you go. Hop in. Everybody on board.
You got the road music picked out?
No. Last time you went with the Yacht Rock, which I'm not. It's not. That wasn't my favorite, but I will listen to it again if you want to take me down that path.
We can
How
do
much
something.
yacht rock can you do?
We can do something different. That was Bruns is a very big yacht rock person, and so I enjoy it. So I was fine with it, but we'll go somewhere else this time. We'll go into the deep world of music and pull out something else entirely.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to be negative on Brunts like that accidentally, but
That's all right.
yeah, I'll see you shortly.
He's only listening and keeping notes. We know this, so
Yeah, probably.
All right, BC.
Later.
That's Brian Christopherson, 24/7 Sports Husker 24/7. Schaefer's out of here in an hour or more. He's gonna finish.
Yeah, I gotta run home and grab my bag and potentially put stuff in that bag. And
oh yeah, no, I'm totally underprepared for the upcoming weekend.
I had like really big plans to be prepared for this morning because it's a tight timeline. Like I've got some friends I'm trying to meet up in Minnesota tonight for dinner, and they have like a 6 p.m. reservation. It's gonna be tight.
Get out of here by noon.
Yeah. Well, right, but then it's also if you
it only leaves a 1 hour window
south of Minneapolis traffic at a certain time, and with all of Nebraska driving up there.
Yeah, Schaefer, that seems a bit.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Okay,
I don't know.
All right.
We'll try to make it work.
Ambitious. Ambitious.
I screwed up. I know it.
We'll take a quick break. Come back right at the 9 o'clock hour next.
More of Happer and Schaefer is coming your way on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. This month's specials are Sam Adams, Exile Brewing from Iowa, and other fall seasons. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Nebraska really needs to make sure they don't go down as the best team to not make a bowl game.
Think about some of the guys that wouldn't, if they don't end up in a bowl game, that wouldn't go to a bowl game. I mean, Adrian, perhaps he could come back next year.
JoJo Doman.
But yeah, the guys on like the two safeties. I mean, that would be horrible.
I know.
That'd be awful.
Because this team is absolutely good enough to be in a bowl.
Yeah, they're a bowl team.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything that is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
At Madonna Therapy Plus, your health and safety is our first priority. Whether you're recovering from a minor sprain or a complex medical condition, our therapy experts can help relieve pain and increase mobility in an environment that adheres to enhanced safety guidelines. Therapy Plus is open in Omaha and Lincoln for comprehensive physical, speech, and occupational therapy, all with enhanced in-person safety plus new telehealth options. So don't let wellness wait. Learn more and schedule an appointment at therapyplus.madonna.org.
Century Electric is now hiring for experienced licensed electricians. This position will serve around the Lincoln area on both commercial and residential jobs. Century Electric is well established with 40 years in operation. It offers a substantial hiring bonus as well as tons of benefits. For more information or to apply, go online to centuryelectric.com and click the careers tab or call them at 402-467-5550. Come work for a great company today with Century Electric, whose commitment is always to their customers.
Not all championships come with a trophy. Some help save lives. If you'd like to be on the team that kicks cancer's butt, come to Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln this fall and support their Cheers to Hope campaign. Every Cheers to Hope koozie or ACS chicken ringer you buy supports the American Cancer Society and their fight against cancer. Sounds like a win to me. You get great beer, the best chicken sandwich in the league, the chicken ringer, and you're helping fight cancer. Cheers to Hope at Buffalo Wings and Rings, the better Buffalo.
Welcome back, Husker fans. Eustace Body Shop is happy to welcome the best fans in college football back to Lincoln. With gold-class certified service, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop can call the right place to keep you in the game. Whether it's in Lincoln at 88th and Highway 2 or at any of our other 5 locations across Nebraska, Eustace Body Shop can help get you back on the road. Go Big Red.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
The professional bull riders return. Bigger, better.
bolder for an all-new 2021 season.
Maybe, just maybe, the impossible can happen.
Join us for the PBR Cooper Tires Take the Money and Ride, October 23rd and 24th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Brought to you locally by USCCA. Get tickets now at PBR.com and Ticketmaster.com and find out what it means to be cowboy. Connor Happer.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave
Mike Schaefer.
with a bunch of scraps.
This is Happer and Schaefer.
All right, welcome back. More of Happer and Schaefer. Good question. I actually considered doing something like this today, so we stumbled on it. Why not? Seth from the text line asked this. At Schaefer, he added you on the text line. Which, did it get your attention?
No.
Okay.
I
At
actually
Schaefer.
have no access to the text line, and I don't want it.
Okay. If you ever wanted to,
it
I
would
would
be
give it to
too
you.
distracting.
It would.
I
be
already
for
get
you.
a little distracted over here, and I know that annoys you, and so we don't need to add more to it.
Okay. I'm glad that you have a knowledge of this.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty aware. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing what I do,
That's
but
fine.
I'm aware.
That's fine. Thank you for being aware. That's
Yeah.
good enough. It's better than some. Seth asked this. Rate the Big Ten West road trips best to worst.
Okay.
I have not been to all the stadiums. I would say, without question, the top two would be Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Yeah, I would put Minnesota 1 because I like Minneapolis that much, and Minneapolis is a perfect Mike Schaefer city because there are a ton of breweries.
Mhm.
There's a lot of different. It's spread out enough that I don't feel like everyone has to glom
Be in
into
one
one
place.
spot.
Yep.
And there's cool places to hang out. Oh, by the way, there's a whole city right next door called St. Paul that also has cool places.
Also a city.
And so it's basically like it's for me, it's perfect. The stadium's easy to get to. It's a nice stadium. Like I like going there.
They have a light rail. They have train.
Yeah,
They have a big mall.
they do have a big mall. I went from only ever going to the Mall of America once in my life to I think I've been there 4 or 5 times in the last 3
It's
years.
amazing. I go there. I try and go there every
I told
time.
you my brother made a stop on our way back from watching Shohei Ohtani that
Yes,
Sunday,
you
where we
did.
drove up there, watched the baseball game, went to the Mall of America, and drove home. All in the same.
You still had to squeeze in a Mall
Yeah,
of America.
because he wanted to go to Legoland. A 37-year-old individual that needed to get to 36-year-old
tried.
individual that needed to get to Legoland.
I don't think that I'll get up there this weekend, but I try to do it every time I'm there. I
It is-
try to because it's really fun. I don't know why.
It's a pretty awesome experience. Like it really is. Like a mall is a mall is a mall, but when it's the biggest mall,
yeah,
there's just like a cool energy in that building.
There is.
I know what I'm saying makes me sound old and lame.
Poll
And you
question.
know what? I am old now, and I have always been lame.
Poll question. Is there a cool energy about Mall of America?
There is. I swear it.
I'm actually with you here, but it would make for a funny poll question, so I'm going to do it.
You should. And it'll be 72% no, and the rest of us are correct.
That's right.
So
They used to have a whole show about the Mall of America cops.
Really?
Yeah, you guys don't remember that? The Mall of America security guards?
No.
It was like a behind the scenes show about I'm not kidding, this is real.
I like that I look at Rico
Yeah,
as
you
if Rico somehow the
I thought Rico would definitely know about this. He loves watching
But to be
weird
fair,
stuff.
when something I don't understand, and if you know about it, then I have to turn to the other person who generally knows things that I wouldn't understand. And Rico didn't. So I feel a little okay with that.
I'm going to Google just to confirm. The show was called Mall Cops.
I was going to ask if it was called Mall Cops.
Mall Cops, Mall of America.
Where did they get the name?
Mall Cops,
Very
Mall of
original.
America. Was an American reality television series that follows the work of security team at the Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota, the second largest mall in North America. Is that wow? What?
It's the second largest. What's the largest? It's probably in Texas.
My favorite things about Mall of America. Thank you for asking. The log ride.
Cool.
I'd never go on the log ride, but it always looks cool.
I did when I was a kid.
They have Paul Bunyan in there.
Yep.
He waves at you.
Does he have his ass?
The chair on the side of the wall where they hit the home run because the Twins Stadium used to be there, and then there's like a home plate in the middle, and then you look up at the chair and you're like, oh my god, it's way up there. The home run went that far. Those are my favorite two things. There's like a food court, but then there's also like restaurants.
Yeah. Yep. the whole 4th and 5th floor.
I love options.
And they have like the trampoline parks and that type of thing that kids are going to now or whatever. They have like 5 of those upstairs.
Man,
and they're like the highest level or
I
whatever.
wish I had more time the one time I went.
When was the first time you ever went?
Probably as a kid.
Yeah. It was better when it was Camp Snoopy. Versus the Nickelodeon.
Oh,
thing
yes,
now.
they changed it to Nickelodeon Universe.
That was the toughest thing for me to understand when I walked in as an adult in 2018. As a kid, Camp Snoopy was awesome.
Yeah,
and I liked it.
I totally agree.
And now it's not there anymore, and that makes me sad.
They have an aquarium. I know that. They were building it when I went the first time and the only time I went.
Yeah, there's something downstairs. Yeah, you have to go like down
never had it.
underneath the theme park.
Mm-hmm.
There's like my type of roller coaster that basically just goes and there's not much like ups and downs and whoop-de-whoops and anything like that.
Whoop-de-whoop.
There's nothing now there's some crazy ones.
So
There's
just like an open air tram?
Yeah, my favorite roller coaster is actually a tram. Yeah.
Are you guys ever confused by how many
But it takes you back
people-
to the same place, so it doesn't really.
Are you guys ever confused by how many people are in an M&M store?
Yes.
At the mall?
Why are you? Yes,
Like,
I agree.
What are you getting there? And why?
Well, have you
M&Ms.
ever gone to like the M&M World thing in Times
Times
Square in
Square,
New York?
yes. I walked
it's
in
like
there once.
packed, and I'm like, it's just it's chocolate.
I don't
It's-
think
it's-
I went in. I think I looked at it.
It's an attraction more than
There's
it's an
in
actual
Vegas,
M&M store.
In Vegas, there's something like that in New York. I'm
Yes,
pretty
there
sure.
is.
I'm just like confused as to why there's this stuff to begin with. But so it goes. All right. So the ranking 'em. I would go Minneapolis 1. I think Wisconsin is fine at 2. I've only done it once. I might do it again here in November. I would, and this is where things get kind of screwy.
I know my third, and then the rest of them are garbage. But go ahead.
I have not ever done Iowa City in the proper way, but it's also always Thanksgiving, Black Friday. So it's just sort of a weird trip to begin with.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving that one unranked. I don't know where I would put it. People, I'm actually going to go to Nebraska, Iowa City for basketball this year.
Oh, nice.
So I will have a more complete ranking on Iowa City in terms of fun.
That's fair.
So then my third is, and it might even be my second, but right now it's third, Purdue, the West Lafayette trip. It gets a bad rap from people. It shouldn't, because what's behind it? Garbage like Evanston. Oh, you can go to Chicago. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And then Illinois, which is dead last, will always be last.
Yeah. The whole point that you just made about Northwestern,
it's a terrible time.
Why is it terrible?
Evanston sucks, so there's nothing fun about going. Like,
That's
you're
fine.
basically just have to take a train to the game, and then you take an hour train back to where you're at.
Yeah.
And like, there's no experience around the stadium. The stadium is dead. It's not an enjoyable time at all.
There's just stuff to do in Chicago. There's an energy, like you said, with the Mall of America.
It's just like such an odd experience. Like, give me the college town. I like West Lafayette for that and for that reason.
Now, I admittedly have never been to West Lafayette.
You can't even rate it.
I have been to Champaign, and that would be last.
Oh man,
And-
it's not even close.
Yeah, not really remotely close.
Look, and there's several I haven't been to on the east side. I can't imagine one that would be worse than
and
Champaign.
I'm generally with you on the college town thing, but there's like a limit to it. So for that
You
reason,
just want to go to Portillo's.
I do want to go to Portillo's.
That's it.
Thank
That's
you.
the
And I want to
whole
wear
thing.
the hat and take a picture with it. But for the college town reason, Wisconsin's second to none for me.
Yeah.
I love Minnesota. I love the Minnesota trip, and I enjoy the Northwestern trip as well. But Wisconsin is perfect. It's a little too far for my liking.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect college town. They're about the things that I'm about, which is drinking and eating meat and stuff, which is awesome.
Wisconsin's one I need to do again because our experience with it wasn't the normal one. And so it, like in all of these cases, you need to have like more than one time where you go. Otherwise, if you just have one bad experience, that's that.
Fair.
So
This will be my fourth Minnesota trip.
Yeah,
I think.
I think it's the easiest, most simple one for people to do. It's
Yeah.
either a very short plane ride or it's a quick car trip.
Thank you for the question, Seth. Appreciate it. We'll take a break and come back and introduce you once again to the fastest hour in sports radio. Also introduce you to a new sponsor.
Oh, Jake.
All right. Shout out, Jake. We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back with our keys to the game next.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Century Electric is now hiring for experienced licensed electricians. This position will serve around the Lincoln area on both commercial and residential jobs. Century Electric is well established with 40 years in operation. It offers a substantial hiring bonus as well as tons of benefits. For more information or to apply, go online to centuryelectric.com and click the careers tab or call them 402-467-5550. Come work for a great company today with Century Electric, whose commitment is always to their customers.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
4th and goal. Both guys have 7 catches. Patrick wide right, Sutton by himself wide left. Single coverage on both. Bridgewater takes a snap, throws the ball back to the end zone, intercepted. Intercepted by James Pierre, second-year corner out of Florida Atlantic with 11 seconds to go in the game.
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal. Dave Logan's call as the Broncos made a valiant comeback, but ultimately came up short, losing in Pittsburgh to the Steelers 27-19 yesterday. Teddy Bridgewater, 24 of 38, 288 yards, 2 TDs, one to Kendall Hinton, the other to Cortland Sutton, who had 7 catches for 120 yards, but said postgame they can't wait until the fourth quarter to get going.
We want to be able to start fast and have guys on the ropes going into halftime, and so that it's not a tooth and nail fight, to get that lead coming out of half.
The Broncos, who now sit at 3-2 on the year, host the Raiders Sunday.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Welcome back, Husker fans. Eustace Body Shop is happy to welcome the best fans in college football back to Lincoln. With Gold Class certified service, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop can call the right plays to keep you in the game. Whether it's in Lincoln at 88th and Highway 2 or at any of our other 5 locations across Nebraska, Eustace Body Shop can help get you back on the road. Go Big Red.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Join the revolution with Jim and Trav this week as Kurt Wells from Bowhunter Magazine and host of Bowhunter TV recounts his recent elk hunt where he arrowed a massive 7x9 bull. Then Alan Probst from North American Trapper walks us through trapping rules, regulations, and tips that will make us more proficient fur bearers. Finally, Cat Daddy gets us up to speed and ready for the fall catfishing frenzy. The revolution is presented by Outdoor Channel, Sportsman Channel, World Fishing Network, and My Outdoor TV. Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Lincoln's ticket to sports.
Not all championships come with a trophy. Some help save lives. If you'd like to be on the team that kicks cancer's butt, come to Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln this fall and support their Cheers to Hope campaign. Every Cheers to Hope koozie or ACS chicken ringer you buy supports the American Cancer Society and their fight against cancer. Sounds like a win to me. You get great beer, the best chicken sandwich in the league, the chicken ringer, and you're helping fight cancer. Cheers to Hope at Buffalo Wings and Rings, the better Buffalo.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bach from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln. This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In Class A softball, Lincoln Southwest and Lincoln East are still competing for the championship. Number 2, Lincoln Southwest will advance to the championship after beating number 1 Gretna handedly, 8-0. Senior Bailey Selvage was efficient on the mound for Southwest. She threw 79 pitches in the match, with 50 of them being strikes. Number 3, Lincoln East took down number 5 Papillion La Vista 5-4. East will play Gretna on Friday morning to advance for the championship game. In cross country, all 31 Class A teams met at Pioneers Park here in Lincoln on Thursday. Gabe Hendricks of Elkhorn South would finish first with a time of 15 minutes 39 seconds. The fastest runner for the girls was Ellie Dahl from Fremont with a time of 18 minutes and 30 seconds. Mia Murray from Lincoln East and Brianna Wren from Southwest would win their groups. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Happer and Schaefer.
Says I take no joy in life. I can see that.
Coming at you live from Coppell Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Why are you yelling at me?
Whatever, make me a bicycle, clown.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Connor Happer.
You might want to look away for this.
Mike Schaefer.
My boy's wicked smart.
This is Happer and Schaefer.
How many tackles can one man break? Holy moly! Man, woman, and child did that. Put him in the aisle. He's gone. Touchdown. 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 To the middle. Juggle. Diving. Touchdown, Nebraska. Davison on the deflection. Very close. 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Kellogg's throw. It's going to be tipped and caught. It's caught. It's caught in the touchdown, Western Town! They give it to Janovich, and he powers for a first down and more. There goes Andy Janovich. He just obliterates the guy in a peelback block. I mean, he knocked him from here to Sunday.
Welcome back in. Hour number 3 of Happer and Schaefer here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you. Hour number 3 on a Friday is the fastest hour in sports. It's all already done for us. Keys, peas, sexy picks. And guess what? Guess what else is fast? Allo Internet. That's right. The fastest hour in sports radio is brought to you by Allo. Allo's internet is backed by a 100% fiber optic network, providing more speed, more reliability, and more of the local support and service that you love. Their standard speed is 500 meg, and that's upload and download speed. Does your provider give you the same upload and download speeds? No, they probably don't. So call Allo today. 402-480-6550 or chat with them online at allofiber.com. We appreciate Allo joining on this freight train
because we're about to go fast.
The fastest hour in sports. It's time for our keys to Nebraska's game against Minnesota this weekend. Nebraska, I've talked about this a lot. It's really one of my main things for this week, but just the mental kind of state and where you're at, I'll set it up, and maybe it's not so mental. There's actually a physical aspect that goes into it too. Nebraska now playing their 8th game in 8 weeks. They have a bye coming up. They know that they have a bye coming up. They have it kind of separated out as Brian said earlier in 2-week seasons. This is the second of this first 2-week season. Minnesota, on the other hand, coming off of a bye, they've only played 5 times this year, compared to Nebraska 7 times in their last 7 weeks. They've struggled a little bit. They've been up and down. They probably go back into the bye this week, tweak a couple things. Usually teams come out and they try new stuff and or at least have a little bit more of a focused kind of thing that they're getting after. Coming out of a bye week. So I'm interested in that perspective. So that all is a factor going into this game. And with that being said, I don't think it's all that different from what Nebraska's recipe needs to be on a game by game basis. Start fast. I mean, speaking of Allo, speaking of the fastest hour in sports radio, I think Nebraska's got to start fast too. And just to erase any sort of lingering effects that carried over from last week, it's an 11 a.m. game. It's going to be, I don't imagine that it'll be a full house there on Saturday. You'll have to bring your own energy. And so Nebraska needs to start quick. That'd be key number 1 for me.
Let me use a Happerism.
Okay.
People forget that
Oh,
Nebraska actually started fast against Michigan last week. They took the ball all the way down to the 3-yard line. They went for a touchdown. They didn't get it. And if you have that same kind of recipe against Minnesota, I don't know, maybe you kick the field goal there because you're on the road and you want to grab early points. It probably plays out a little bit different. Or maybe you punch it in. Maybe you get that early touchdown. Nebraska started the game aggressive. They started with 4th down conversions. They started with really big plays right off the bat with Ramir Johnson and Omar Manning having some important catches. And they drove it all the way inside the 10. And so I think the second quarter going the way that it did sort of made people feel like Nebraska's offense did nothing in that game because they got nothing out of that first drive.
You're
Not
right.
in that game, in that first half.
Right.
And then the third quarter, they came out and looked like a different team.
That
and
first drive loosened everything up.
Yeah.
I agree.
They hit on some plays that they had set up earlier in that game. I do think this offense is trending in the right direction. I really do think that this matchup with Minnesota is one where there's a lot of ways for Nebraska to kind of hit the Gophers. I mean, whether it's east-west or even getting vertical a little bit. We talked about how I want to see a deep shot early in this game.
Last 2 games, and while it didn't carry over, like you said, Schaefer, in the first half in particular against Michigan, but I think it helped pave the way confidence-wise and setting things up for your third quarter kind of explosion there. But the last 2 games, you've had a huge play on the first drive.
Mm-hmm.
You had a 40-plus yard pass to Ramir Johnson on a screen against Michigan. You had the 70-yard pass to Toure in the Northwestern game. Both plays that Nebraska felt like they needed. There's always a tenseness. There's always a nervous energy.
There's always tension.
There's always tension. There's always a nervous energy going into these games. It's like, what are we going to be today? How are we going to do this? And Nebraska feels like one of those teams that needs a little bit of something to go right for them early.
Yeah.
And especially in a situation environment like this.
Can I say something that most people will probably find hard to believe?
You can.
Nebraska's the more consistent of these 2 teams.
Yeah.
When's the last time that you've actually heard that said out loud as it relates to a conference game? Because even against Northwestern, you weren't talking about Nebraska's consistency. It's, well, Northwestern just is going to do what they do and yada, yada, yada. This is a situation where Minnesota has been really elevated. It's at least number 2, I think. Is it 3?
I think it's 3 of the day. Yeah.
Well,
we're still at like 15 or 16.
Yeah, Rico's at, well, we're in the fastest hour. They're going to pile up this hour. Yeah. You know they're going to pile
up. Get it popping.
So
17.
You've got a team in Minnesota that's been very elevator-ish, where they played really well against Colorado and very poorly against 2 MAC schools. They played well at times against Ohio State. So you don't really know. I mean, you don't know what they're going to be, but you have a Nebraska team that for 6 straight weeks, ignoring the first week.
We don't talk about that first week
because there's more evidence of the other 6 than there is to the 1.
Yep.
6 straight weeks, they've been about the same team every time they've taken the field. And that gives me a lot of confidence that on Saturday at 11 a.m., they can be the same team when they take the field. And I think Adrian is in a good spot. And as Adrian goes, Nebraska generally has gone. Adrian has played relatively well this year. Nebraska has looked relatively good this year. In Adrian's best games, Nebraska has blown teams out. In Adrian's games where he's hung tough, Nebraska's hung tough. I think Adrian's going to play well on Saturday. I think getting him to a quick start, and not just the offense, but like you said, you hit a big play, you relieve some of that tension. Suddenly Adrian's just in the game flow.
Yep.
And that's when he's the most dangerous, because when it's not just, well, we need a play, it's, all right, guys are doing plays. They're doing the plays, and Adrian gets to do some plays on his own. No, I just, there's a lot to like about how Nebraska is set up here, and I know there's a lot to be nervous about because Minnesota comes off that bye, and you're 7 weeks into your season.
But the nervousness mostly comes from the tangential stuff.
Yeah, the narrative stuff of like, this is what we've seen Nebraska do.
Yeah.
But if you only focus on this season, you haven't seen Nebraska.
Nebraska's
do that.
better. Yeah.
They've been slow out of the gate, sure. But if you're condensing it to you want to see progress every week, they've gotten better as the season has gone along. This version of Nebraska is much better than the one that beat Fordham, is better than the one that beat Buffalo, is better than the one that hung with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The version of Nebraska right now is as good as you've seen it.
No, when we throw away the the pain of last week against Michigan. Nebraska, I mean, you might be right, Schaefer. They may have played their best game every game.
It feels that way at
Do you think that's true?
The one exception, I didn't.
Michigan State, maybe?
No. They played really well, I thought, against Michigan State. It's hidden in there because they didn't get enough points.
Yeah.
And the offensive line was really bad, which sort of caused you to not get points.
I thought Adrian was off a little bit that night.
And
going on your Adrian thing.
And especially his jaw, getting hit as early as he did in the game. And even as off as he was, he still basically put him in position to win that thing. So the Buffalo game stands out to me because it felt like they left a lot of points on the field that day.
Yeah.
Whereas Fordham, they didn't necessarily, but Fordham, they had to kind of build into.
Do you think they played better against Michigan or Northwestern? I mean, with the obviously teams, on the other side factoring in.
Northwestern's as good as I think I've seen them play, but the drop off from how they played against Northwestern to how they played against Michigan relative to opponent doesn't feel very big.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. I just think this version of Nebraska, like it's hard to trust them, and they're 0-3 on the road so far this season. So that or is 0-2, 0-3, yeah, in the Illinois game. Always forget about that one. So
why do we have to keep mentioning that?
Because they played it.
Can we just all agree that Nebraska's 3-3?
Nebraska actually went 3-6.
Yeah.
In 2020 and the first game of 2021, they are currently 3-3.
That's really how it is.
It feels that way. It does.
For whatever reason, 2021 Nebraska was just 2020 Nebraska for one game, and then they became good.
And the 2021 version, which we got 6 weeks of so far, I think they're good. I think that they're better than Minnesota, and there's a lot of different ways for them to prove it. But so for me, it's basically continue to be the consistent team, continue to play as you have, and you're going to be in a really good position on Saturday.
Yeah. When you look at it, like I said, the tangential stuff is kind of what I've been talking about all week. On paper, Nebraska's better.
But they've done a really nice job of eliminating a lot of the stuff that used to feel like it was a bugaboo for them.
Yeah.
Like the
only way that stuff matters is if you're worried about it, if you're worried about the kind of margins in the game, and it's less significant this week. Yeah. I'd say that the margins seem, on Nebraska's side.
Is it overly simplistic to say that Nebraska looks like and plays like a veteran team? Because a lot of this sort of stuff where it's like, you talk about like
late game woes wouldn't tell you that.
And that's fair. That's definitely fair because on both sides of the ball and on special teams, they've all cost you at some point.
They act like a veteran team. Yeah. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. They carry themselves like
themselves like a veteran team.
Because that feels noticeable to me versus, last year and certainly versus 2019 when they had some veterans, but it really felt like week to week they were just trying to cobble something together just to survive. Here it feels like they have a sort of sense of who they are, how they want to play, and what they're going to try to do to stress an opponent.
Defensively for Nebraska. So Minnesota's offense has whose offense?
Minnesota!
Their offense has really been, and I'm curious to see how they address it and what they decide to kind of magnify this week, what they decide to accentuate, I should say. Top two running backs are out. No Ibrahim, no Trey Potts. So they're going to go to a freshman who you're going to hear called, his nickname is Bucky.
Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving.
Marquise Irving.
His real name is Marquise, but they call him Bucky, which I very much enjoy. So you're going to see a lot of him on Saturday. Bottom line is they are a team who, because of their inefficiency throwing the football, is kind of just forced to sit on it and run and run and run and run. Where, comparing this offense to the 2 years ago's offense in 2019 for Minnesota, they were able to connect so well and so efficiently in the passing game, and that opened things up for them to run the football well. Their stats in the running game actually look good. I think they're top 15 in the country, just bulk rushing yards per game right now. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's what it said. That's just because of volume.
Yeah.
It's not efficient.
Well, so think about it this way. Mo Ibrahim played essentially 3 quarters and he still had 30 carries.
Right.
So they're just loading up their running backs.
Yeah.
Trey Potts, I think, had like a 35 carry game at one point this season. Like they just load these guys up.
Right. So the key, like it is against several Big Ten teams and specifically Big Ten West teams, is do not let them get in front of the chains. Keep them in 3rd and 8. If you're in 3rd and 8, you're going to have a chance to make a couple plays because those are the only times. I mean, you go back to the Michigan State game. I said the exact same thing. Michigan was probably similar. It was if they keep him off schedule and they're in 3rd and long, it's bad news for them. They don't mind punting. They're not going to put themselves in a position to turn the ball over that much. But when you have opportunities, you have to take them. That's one thing that Nebraska did well last week. They took advantage of the turnover opportunities that they got, even though the defense was a little bit more leaky than it was in previous weeks.
Yeah.
So you'd like to see that continue.
It's definitely a sense of you can't let Minnesota dictate to you on defense. They can't dictate down and distance. They can't dictate time of possession. So it's a big Damian Daniels game. It's a big Nick Henrich, Luke Reimer game. Those guys are out there and they're going to be asked to make a lot of tackles. They're going to be asked to do. I mean, we talked about this in the past with Wisconsin and with Iowa, but Minnesota's offense isn't big on tricking you. It's just big on making you defend the same things continuously.
Yep. And
that's where Nebraska just has to have discipline, and the safeties have to be aware of those tight ends in a lot of ways.
Well, you think back to that 2019 game and PJ Fleck came right out and said it after the game. We wanted to get their linebackers moving and it worked. Nebraska's in a position now. This is a really good kind of snapshot of the growth, specifically at that position. I mean, they could try and do that. It ain't going to work. Nebraska's linebackers can move now.
I mean, it could work, but it would be surprising if it does because better teams haven't been able to do it.
If you are trying to execute that game plan, if you're putting forth that game plan, if you're Minnesota, you're hoping on a couple things. Number one, that the linebackers don't move well in space. And number two, that they're out of position at times. They're rarely out of position and they move well now. Yeah. So with the addition of Reimer and Henrich now getting in there as well, little smattering of Kolarovic too. So those guys move well. They know what to do. They know where to go. I don't really have any sort of reservations about those guys at this point. And that is they'll try and pinpoint those guys for sure.
I don't know if this counts as a key, but one of the things that Nebraska wasn't going to do for much of its game on offense against Michigan was win the edge of the field. It feels like Nebraska should be able to do that against Minnesota, both in terms of their ability on the option plays. And then their receivers, like Purdue and Aiden O'Connell put up 371 yards, 351 yards, something in that neighborhood. And so Nebraska's receivers are better than Minnesota's defensive backs. And so Samari Toure should have a decent day.
He's my pick to click.
He's your pick to click.
Yes.
Look at that. Would you like to know mine? It's also a wide receiver.
We should do picks to click on this show.
We never do picks to click on this show.
We've mentioned it before.
We talk about it, but we don't actually sit down and do it.
We did do it on the Hypecast.
We did do it on the Hypecast.
Which you can now hear.
It's out there. It's been out since 4 a.m. when you got up to do it.
Amazing.
That's why we're so tired today.
Yeah.
We watched the Giants Dodgers and we did a Hypecast at 4 a.m.
It's going to be a long day.
And we didn't pack for our subsequent trips.
Classic.
So go us.
To raise my click.
I think that's a good one. I think Oliver Martin could be pretty dangerous. I think Levi Falk is going to be used quite a bit. And they have an advantage on the edge there and in the passing game that I would like to see them sort of set up in the same way they did against Michigan. In that first half, if you're able to run, you get Michigan's linebackers kind of following the action a little bit. You are probably going to set some screens up and you're going to hit some things.
A good question on the text line. If the running back is named Bucky, does that make PJ Fleck Captain America?
Interesting. Would the or be his version of a shield? Is that what we're doing here as we really extrapolate this whole thing out?
I mean, weirdly, I can see it. Like I can see him standing up
him
there.
Being a smaller kid picked on that becomes a genetic experience.
Yep.
Experiment.
Yeah. I can see him standing up there with an American flag suit on, like saying, everything is the best. I love everything. America is elite. Like I can see the whole thing.
They had their USA helmets, right?
Yeah.
Where they had the red, white, and blue in gloss.
I get crap for this every year. I think Minnesota is one of the sharpest looks in college football. They do a great job with their uniforms and their color scheme.
Big maroon guy.
Unlike the Eagles.
One of the worst looks in college football, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, if they were in college, they'd be the worst.
They'd be pretty good.
Now they're just the worst in the NFL. No, I think they have a nice, sharp, clean look.
Yeah.
They've done that well. Who'd you say your pick was? Quick?
I'm going to go on defense, and I'm going to go Caleb Tanner. He had a better game than people might suspect. He was getting after Michigan a little bit, but he wasn't getting home. They've given up 12 sacks in 5 games this year. They're having other protection issues. It's one of the reasons they don't pass that much, because they can't afford, they really can't afford an early down sack.
Nope.
And so they
can't make mistakes. Their margin is razor thin.
And so I think this is, Garrett Nelson, Caleb Tanner, this is a good weekend for those guys to come off the edge, to be just sort of defensive end pass rushers in obvious situations. And I'm going to go Caleb Tanner.
All right. Those are our keys to the game. If you have any for us, we'd like to hear them. 402-464-5685. But this is where we really need you guys. This worked out well last week. Send in your props. We'll take them over or under. We'll do that next as we continue on with the fastest hour in sports radio, brought to you by Allo, next on Happer Schaefer.
Follow Connor and Mike on Twitter at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer. You're listening to Happer and Schaefer.
At MD Pain, we know chronic pain is a problem. It can lead to isolation, depression, and the inability for you or a loved one to live the life you want. That doesn't need to happen. Chronic pain can be effectively managed. The doctors of MD Pain wrote the book on effective, ethical pain management. Get actual solutions with the most up-to-date, clinically proven treatment options available. No one has to suffer in silence. Get real treatment for chronic pain. Call MD Pain.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your KFXL Fox, Nebraska weather. Expecting mostly sunny skies for our Friday with a low right around 61. Clear skies into Friday night and cold temperatures, low right around 35. We'll see warmer conditions into Saturday, high of 67 with plenty of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Regina Bird for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You may be eligible for free 500 megabit internet from Allo if you've been financially impacted during the pandemic or receive federal support. This is Brad Moline, president of Allo Communications, and I'm proud to say that Allo is supporting the FCC's Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. We're committed to providing everyone in our fiber communities access to high-quality internet. To find out more, please stop by our Allo store or go to allofiber.com/EBB.
When you choose new flooring, you don't want to wait for weeks or months to enjoy it. You want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. We hear stories every day about long waits and installation charges way higher than necessary. When you choose O Street Carpet, we'll measure free, install right away, and at a much better price. Stop in, shop now. Proud to be Lincoln's choice for nearly 50 years.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bach from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything. They really appreciate what she's done as a sister as well as a soldier and, supporting their country.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join.
Family members that are soldiers in the Army National Guard inspire and influence, setting a path for others.
It's validating knowing that, I kind of did my part to make sure this is what they actually wanted and that they feel the same way I do. I'm really proud that we get to help shape the future, and I know that my sisters are going to be amazing soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in. A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving the country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit nationalguard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
Connor Happer. Mike Schaefer.
You know what goes great with major sports moments and or Creighton meltdowns? Coors.
This is Happer and Schaefer.
Back here in Happer and Schaefer, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, part of the fastest hour in sports radio, brought to you by Allo. Call Allo today at 402-480-6550 or chat with them online at allofiber.com. If they go as fast as this hour goes, then shout out to them because this is truly the fastest hour in sports radio.
It's already flying.
All right, we have props from you guys from the text line. I was looking at just Adrian Martinez's game log and kind of what he's done recently and then his history against Minnesota in his career. So
against who?
Thank you. Good point.
Minnesota!
Okay, so rushing yards is what we always kind of that's always a good barometer for how how we think the game is going to go. Like how much are you going to need him? How much will they try to run him? That entire thing. So here's his rushing yard totals in the last 2 games. Northwestern, he had 50. Michigan, he had 38. He did a lot through the air in that game. And then the game before that, Michigan State, he had 19 carries for 59 yards. So the 2 games before that were pretty heavy usage-wise, running the football, 17 carries and 19 carries. And then the last 2, just 8 apiece. His career against Minnesota last year, 15 carries for 96 yards. Heavy. 2019 against Minnesota, he did not play. 2018 against Minnesota, he had one of his best games of his career, total yards wise, and efficiency wise. Man, here's his line that day in Nebraska's first win in the 2018 season on October 20th, by the way. 25 of 29, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns passing. That goes for a passer rating, by the way, of 200.3. Rushing, 15 carries, 125 yards, and a touchdown. So, just a nice, cool 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That'll play.
Not bad.
That'll play.
And as we've said, I think Nebraska's offense, I think is it's definitely a hell of a lot closer to 2018 than it is 2019.
Just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Like the 2020 version of Adrian and the 2020 version of Nebraska's offense is not what Minnesota's getting this week.
Not at all.
That is going to be that's going to be
like on the scale,
really interesting to watch.
On the scale of 18, and it doesn't have to repeat the performances against Minnesota in those years. But in totality, on the scale of what is this offense compared to 2018 compared to what it was in 2020, where is it?
It's much, much closer to 18.
I think so too. Like it's inching up against 2018.
Can I offer something that people won't like? It might be better than 2018.
No, I was going to say
they
it's
have
really
more
close
ways to beat you that isn't just this guy has a big play on a break. Like they have some different weapons. They have better tight end usage right now. I really have done an about face on where this offense is over the last few weeks because I like what they have set up. I like the play calling in these games. I mean, I just, I feel so much better about this offense than I did in a long time.
I think it's pretty clear to see where the difference is. And Nebraska has actual good wide receivers that they use.
Yeah. And
they just haven't had that the last 2 years.
Well, and I think there's also another difference of even when it's not working, they're still using Ramir Johnson.
Yep.
And he's still something that the teams have to play against. The two tight end set has been harder for teams to defend because Nebraska can be versatile out of it.
Ramir is also in the game more often than not only because they trust him in the run game, it's because they trust him in the pass game.
Yeah, he's got 169 yards receiving and 200 and something rushing in the last 4 weeks.
And he can pass block.
Yep.
So, like, that kind of shifts toward Nebraska is definitely an offense that is predicated with the pass game and getting that going first. Like I said that from the beginning of the year. It just feels better when this offense goes from outside in. And I know they wanted to go inside out, establish the run game first and then go from there. But they crease runs when they hit passes.
Yeah.
Like
you back linebackers out and then you're able to work Ramir in.
So I think that's kind of been the key for this year. And the results are pretty close to what they were yielding in 2018. The only difference being their defense is pretty good. So they know they have to slow it down for them a little bit, which is good. And so I think they're trying to find the balance of like peak efficiency on both sides right now, which, it's a good place to be in. 3-4, not a great place to be in, but that's where they are. All right. Props. So given that the Adrian Martinez rushing yardage is, let's call it 55.
Under. Yeah.
You comfortably under, you see.
Yeah, I think so. I anticipate Nebraska attacks a little bit more through the air. I don't, with Adrian, he can always have a run that's going to just flip the numbers and everything.
Which it usually does.
But if you sort of get into the habit of just sort of viewing, like, I think he's going to be right around 50 yards, 45 yards. And then if he just has that one big run, it could push it up to 70. I don't think he's near 100 in this game. I don't think they have to rely on him in that way. And I think he's going to get the playmakers around him involved.
I think the fact that they're going to be able to use this option to their advantage this week is going to lead to a little bit more usage from him. It's part of the reason why why the carry numbers were low last week. Is just Michigan's defense was just there. They were on the spot every time.
They're really good against the edge of the field.
And then they were low against Northwestern 2 weeks ago because they didn't need to be high. So I think that the carry number will be pretty high this week. I don't know, maybe the over-under is 13, something like that, because I think he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot.
Okay.
And that's a position for Nebraska where I feel increasingly comfortable. You just trust the guy. So I'm going to hit both overs. I think it's a big day for Adrian.
Okay. I'm going to go under on it.
Both unders.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think I just, for some reason, foresee a bigger passing day.
Okay. Interesting. Let's get to a few of your guys' here next. Over under, this is from Matt, who is apparently a Reggie Bush apologist.
Oh.
Over under snaps for Logan Smothers, 1.5. I think you could just as easily put it at a half.
Yeah, I'm going to go under.
And I would say none, 0. Under.
And I'm someone who, like, when we get into our actual prediction, I have a score that's probably different than most, but I just don't think they're going to be at the point where they're comfortable putting in a backup.
Kent Lincoln, over under Tanner Morgan.
Minnesota!
Attempted passes, 22.5.
That's a good number, I think.
That is a good number.
I like your number. I'm gonna say over, but slightly.
I think they're going to need to probably, if the game goes according to script for Nebraska, they're going to have to throw themselves back in it a little bit, and that would lead me to the over. But if it goes on script for them, it's under.
Yeah. It really just depends on what you think this game is. Is it close all the way through? Does Nebraska create some separation? That kind of thing.
Tanner Morgan in his games this year has thrown 25, 17, 17, 13, and 18 passes.
Trust me, I wanted to go under, but I think it'll have to be closer to that 25 number.
Yeah. Is that? Yeah, that's right. Man, his last 2 games, 5 of 13, 2 picks against Bowling Green, 59 yards. And against Purdue, 9 of 18, 169 yards and a touchdown, which isn't all that horrible, but oof. They just don't trust him.
A lot of missed throws in there.
Missed throws, and I mean, how could you trust him at this point? So they're going to keep the football on the ground. I would say over only because of game script. This is a sidebar. Culver's has a new burger called the Curter Burger. How many Curter points would this be for eating this?
Well, you're in charge of Curter points. I'm not aware.
You can have a allotment if you want.
Okay. Do you get the Curter points if you eat the burger?
Yeah, I think it'd be worth.
You have to spend the Curter points to eat the Curter burger.
No, you don't. I don't think you could buy the Curter burger with the Curter points. I would give you Curter points for eating it, and that amount would be 9 Curter points.
9 Curter points.
Yeah, because I think the meal probably costs $9.
Okay. I would eat the Curter burger.
The rough conversion rate for Curter points.
Do we know what's all on the Curter burger? Have you looked this up yet?
Big old cheese curd.
I'm in.
Yep. Shout out Culver's. Seth has a few. Over under Adrian Martinez, 1.5 rushing touchdowns.
Okay, I like this one. I'm going to say over because he's still their best short yardage running back.
I think so too. I think I would just pencil him in for 2 rushing touchdowns a game generally.
And it's usually, if they don't score by a guy running the ball over the line on like a 20-yard score, it's usually Adrian inside the 10-yard line.
Or a big play.
Yeah.
That's pretty much been the recipe for Nebraska this year. Over under a turnover and a half forced for Nebraska's defense.
Under.
I would say under 2.
I would be surprised if they get 2 turnovers today or on Saturday.
Over under 5.5 plays over 25 yards. Over. Nebraska's been a pretty good chunk play team this year.
Feels like a good number.
It does feel like a good number.
Minnesota's defense is either going to go 2 ways. They're either going to be better than I think they are, or Nebraska.
25 is a good chunk, though.
Yeah.
How
many did they have against Michigan? You had the Allen play. You had the Omar Manning play, I think was 28 yards.
You had the Ramir
Johnson.
Did Ramir have a run that went over 25, or was that?
No.
It was close.
Well, did he?
He popped a run. I don't know if it was 25, though.
Yeah. I think they were right around 4 against a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
I'll take the over on this then.
Let's see. Over under Jacques Yant's receptions. A half. Under. I don't see that in his future. Let's see.
Can I throw one in now?
Yeah.
Do you want me to wait?
Yeah, no, fire one in.
We did this last week at 3.5. This week at 2.5 carries of like 2.5 running backs have a carry on Saturday.
I think it's
because I'm sort of at the point where it feels like both Sevion Morrison and Marquise Stepp have been put on a shelf, and I don't know that we're getting them.
I might go the other way this week. I said under last week, and you balked at it, and it ended up being 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it really ended up being 1 after Yant went the wrong way. But maybe this is the game where you can get a couple more guys going, because I think you'll have some success
if you're up by enough.
Yeah.
If it's close, I just there's something that happened with Morrison where they're just not willing to play him.
I know. Same thing with Stepp.
Yeah. Well, Stepp, I think the rumble is that the foot injuries are still an issue, but
the rumble.
The Morrison thing is odd.
That could be a bit, by the way.
The rumble.
Let's check in with the rumble.
Here's what the rumble says.
What are the rumble saying right now? Let's put our ear to the ground and check the rumble. For some reason I feel like there's going to be 3 in the mix this week.
Slow motion drumming on the table.
3 over.
Okay.
If the number is 2.5. Let's see. There's a few more here. Holding penalties.
None called on Minnesota.
None called on Minnesota.
2 called on Nebraska.
Yeah. Over under 7 PJ Fleck sideline sprints. I think he just does 1, right?
The fourth quarter for sure.
Yeah.
Did he do 1 at halftime?
He might do 1 after like they score and they flip the field.
Yeah. I'm gonna saying under. I'm saying under.
I feel like it's an under. I feel like he's good for 1 sprint a game. That's a bad number. Over under a half a dilly bar shown on TV.
Over.
Yeah, because the people in the announcers will have a dilly bar. There's dilly bars there.
They'll both have one.
So they'll be like, check it out. We have a dilly bar. And it'll be a whole thing.
The Nebraska media will act like they've never been there before, and they'll eat like 7 dilly bars a piece, and it'll just be like sort of horrifying.
Yep.
I will have no dilly bars.
Frost wears a hoodie odds. Yes, -120, no, +100. Feels like hoodie weather. But this is, of course, the site of the infamous hoodie game from 2 years ago.
Could it be? It also feels like the kind of day where you can wear the long sleeves underneath your polo sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we could see him in the white polo, red hat, long sleeve.
At this point, we'd be lucky.
By the way, he didn't wear a hat last week.
He did not. No.
That was one of the questions we got.
He'd be lucky to. I think we're going to be lucky to touch 60 around the game. It feels like a hoodie situation to me. So I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Where's this game being played at, Happer?
Oh, where?
Minnesota!
Where it's lovely this time of year.
Everyone knows.
He's been wearing long sleeves in like 90-degree weather, so I see him wearing.
But then he had the one game where he went just polo only, short sleeve.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I think that was Northwestern.
That was yeah. Well, that was when the Tom Osborne polo came out. Does the Tom Osborne collection have a hoodie?
That's a great question.
Because it feels like he's going all in with Tom Osborne.
When Tom Osborne first became a coach at Nebraska? Like, when did hoodies come into the fashion?
That's a great question.
Whenever the soft millennials came around.
Yeah. I feel like I only started to notice them in, say, middle school. So that'd be right around 6th grade for me, which would be like 1998, 99. So
that's right when the soft millennials came around.
Yeah. I want to know if Tom Osborne has ever worn a hoodie. I feel like
no.
Let's put in a request.
I'm going to go with no.
That's our only question.
See if we get Tom on the show. All right, we got to take a break. Come back. Sexy picks to round things out next.
More of Happer and Schaefer is coming your way on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything. They really appreciate what she's done as a sister as well as a soldier and, supporting their country.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join.
Family members that are soldiers in the Army National Guard inspire and influence, setting a path for others.
It's validating knowing that, I kind of did my part to make sure this is what they actually wanted and that they feel the same way I do. I'm really proud that we get to help shape the future. And I know that my sisters are going to be amazing soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in. A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving their country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns big or small in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606. Or learn more at highelectric.com.
When you choose new flooring, you don't want to wait for weeks or months to enjoy it. You want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. We hear stories every day about long waits and installation charges way higher than necessary. When you choose O Street Carpet, we'll measure free, install right away, and at a much better price. Stop in, shop now. Proud to be Lincoln's choice for nearly 50 years.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Your KFXL Fox, Nebraska weather. Expecting mostly sunny skies for our Friday with a low right around 61. Clear skies into Friday night and cold temperatures, low right around 35. We'll see warmer conditions into Saturday, high of 67 with plenty of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Regina Bird for 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
This is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But you know, State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
You may be eligible for free 500 megabit internet from Allo if you've been financially impacted during the pandemic or received federal support. This is Brad Moline, president of Allo Communications, and I'm proud to say that Allo is supporting the FCC's Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. We're committed to providing everyone in our fiber communities access to high-quality internet. To find out more, please stop by our Allo store or go to allofiber.com/EBB.
You're listening to Happer and Schaefer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rounding things out here for the week on Happer and Schaefer, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. A couple reminders here. This evening, high school football, Norris and Pius down from Norris. Nick will be on the call this evening.
Nick!
And yeah, did you send out your tweet to Nick today?
No, I haven't tweeted Nick in like a couple weeks.
You better remind him that he's doing fine.
That's right. He's been in a weird mood.
Is he allowed to cover a Pius game? Are we concerned here? He represents 93.7, but he also represents Pius. And I don't know.
Favoritism.
I'm doing a Central game next week. So.
Oh no!
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah,
I thought this was
very unprofessional.
I thought this was a professional station.
Very unprofessional.
Next, we're going to send Rico to cover a Bellevue West game.
Yep.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Schaefer to do a Columbus game.
I've already done it.
Schaefer.
I'm dead inside. It doesn't matter.
So Nick will be on the call tonight for that one. And then, of course, the pregame show tomorrow morning begins at 8:30. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. I'll not be there tomorrow. I might make an appearance on the postgame show if they want me to, but I'll be in Minnesota.
You'll be where?
It's a great question.
Minnesota!
Also, we get this on the text line. Corey and Lincoln. Hey, Happer, I'm having a brain fart. Where is the NBA team the Timberwolves from?
Minnesota!
Oh! All right, we got a chance to get to your 25, Rico.
We're at 23.
Where's
Come
Janet
on.
Carvey from? California.
Not Minnesota. Not
So
Minnesota.
close.
Thank you, Sipple. Appreciate that. All right, folks. We are on an amazing little run here on Picks of the Week. And by we, I mean I.
I was going to say we is not the right word.
This is not a joke, 24-12-1 against the spread this year, which is unheard of. I'm surprised myself. Schaefer, 19-17-1. We had our first push last week, the Nebraska game, of course. Rico, 18-18-1. So not sub 500 yet, Rico.
I thought I was.
Congratulations.
I thought I did I did do awful.
It is another substandard week in college football, but we found some games.
Found them. They're just sitting out.
We found some games.
I helped out.
And it is time to get sexy. We begin in Bloomington, not Minnesota, where the Mall of America is located.
Which is a cool experience.
Minnesota! Not where it's located. Oh, no, he shut the other thing off? Hold on. Give me a second.
Re-sexy.
Michigan State, number 10 in the country. They are a 4.5-point favorite at Indiana tomorrow at 11 a.m. on FS1. Rico.
So where are we going with this? I was wondering who was. What was the spread again?
4.5 Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Michigan State, yeah. I don't. Indiana's bad. Michigan State.
Do it.
Michigan State.
Oh, you wanted to.
I wavered on this one a little bit.
Did you really?
Some weird games this week.
I don't love Michigan State, as we know, and I don't want to give them credit, but they'll
I
win
think
by
Indiana's defense isn't very good, and I'm curious how they're going to stop. Michigan State's offense is solid. Like they're putting up points in every game other than when they played Nebraska.
UCF at number 3 or 4?
3.
Cincinnati.
This is my idea.
This was the rando game that I didn't like. There was 5 games, and we had to include a 5th.
I chose this one.
And Rico chose this one because this was his idea. As you know, Cincinnati is a 21.5-point favorite at 11 a.m. on ABC tomorrow. Once thought to be a pretty good game, no longer is without Dylan Gabriel at quarterback for UCF. I'll go first. Cincinnati.
I'm going Cincinnati as well.
I think that I'm going to go Cincinnati as well.
Wow.
Text line, losing my mind over here, but where's the artist Prince from? I think I might know.
Minnesota!
Wow.
Number 12, Oklahoma State is at number 25, Texas, who's a 4-point favorite, 11 a.m. Fox. Big dude.
Texas is favored.
Texas is favored.
I'll go first. Wrong team favored, Oklahoma State.
Same, Oklahoma State. They got a really good defense.
Disagree. Not so fast, my friend.
Happer going contrarian. He was going to pick Oklahoma State before.
I was not.
You thought about it.
I was not. I didn't think about it. I've been on Texas. I'm on Texas.
He's on Texas.
Number 11, Kentucky is at number 1, Georgia, who's a 21.5-point favorite tomorrow at 2:30 on CBS. You're up.
They haven't let me down yet, Georgia. Actually, they let me down once, but still, Georgia.
Will Levis eats bananas weird?
That is true.
Georgia.
That is a fact.
Yeah, I like Georgia too. I wanted to zag a little bit, but I don't really know.
I mean, 21.5 is a lot of points.
With all that Kentucky's done offensively, I just don't see it.
And that video of eating the banana.
Purdue is at number 2, Iowa, who is an 11.5-point favorite tomorrow, 2:30 on ABC. I know where Schaefer's going.
I am going with Iowa, and it feels weird and gross, and I hate myself.
Good to know.
Iowa. They're going to win by a lot.
All right, we're all in the same
This
stuff
is not
with-
good. Can I switch some of my picks?
No. Actually, they're finalized. They're in the bank. I'm going to go with Iowa as well.
You went with Purdue earlier.
No, I didn't.
I made a conversation with Jake?
No, I didn't. I made a case for Purdue potentially winning.
Oh.
But no, I did not pick
right.
Iowa. Or I did pick Iowa. Nebraska. 40 seconds left. Nebraska's a 4-point favorite at Minnesota, 11 a.m., ESPN2. Where?
Minnesota!
This is so hard for me because there's so many buttons.
Minnesota!
All right, I'll go quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nebraska 32, Minnesota 13.
Nebraska 32, Minnesota 7.
Nebraska. So you both have Nebraska covering, and Rico picked more of a blowout than Schaefer.
I was going to go with that before you said anything.
Okay.
Don't.
All right,
Don't.
yeah, sure.
I got to turn this other thing off. Nebraska wins by the final count of 26-14. Why? I don't know.
See you next week.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what